If you are what you say you are, a superstar, then have no fear. The camera's here and the microphones, and they wanna know. A fresh, cool young Lou. Trying to cash his microphone check 212.
That's what I have to do it even though George is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not the same with him not taking care.
Welcome back to the Sports Table, another episode here.
The more famous person
You can just let this ride.
and the sexy lady next to you,
So,
you come
yeah.
too, and then the hitman standing outside of heaven.
I'm Chris. I'm joined by the usual crew: Theo Carlos, Alan.
Too much of a newcomer and too uncool.
Sorry, misfired the sound on that
one.
Alan's here, and of course, Theo George, you got something to say today? It's definitely not picking it up on the mic.
God,
George isn't here today.
we're gonna
What
hit
a
him with a
surprise.
Matumbo, not today.
He's too tired.
Yeah. I'll read you the text. I'll let this music play for a little bit. We'll get into this. This is the first hip-hop album, by the way, we've ever covered. But I quote, Chris, can I be excused today? I'm dead tired.
Dead tired.
Dead tired.
So I come in with strep throat. And he's tired.
Exactly.
I drive in from 400 miles away, cut my kid's vacation short.
I've been out, exactly. You cut your exactly. That tops any other story. I mean, I've been here. It's gonna be by the time we're out of here, it'll be 12 hours. I've been here at work.
Not to mention you came 2 weeks ago when you were off.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, that's happened more than once.
But he's tired. He's tired.
Okay.
He's yawning.
Sleep well.
He sleeps here most of the time anyway. What the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
He's very comfortable.
Well, this is Lupe Fiasco, Superstar. What's the album from, Alan?
The Cool.
Cool.
I like it. Sounds.
I believe it's, I think the second big album we had. The first one being Food and Liquor.
Lupe.
Lupe Fiasco.
Fiasco.
Yeah. He's an odd cat. He I believe, oddly enough, he's from Chicago, which is fitting considering what we're going through with the heat.
Yeah.
But he's a weird guy as far as rappers go because he's admittedly a skater, and he's not like a fake skater like dickhead Lil Wayne,
Like
who,
Lil
who
Wayne.
became a skater after everybody was like, oh my god, it's cool. And he's like,
Lil
all right,
Wayne.
but he's a skate park guy. He watches apparently a lot of anime and manga, which for a rapper seems odd, and it's in the songs. And he typically touches unusual subjects. I think we'll do the third song. It hits on some pretty deep shit.
Oh.
And he also on that album has a song called "Dumb It Down," which is him telling people, "Look, I'm not gonna make my stuff stupid, so you guys accept it." And the hook is always someone telling him to dumb it down, like, "Oh, you're making the women have self-confidence, Luke. Dumb it down." And it's just like, no, I'm gonna use big words. You don't know him? Too bad. So it's an interesting guy.
He's touched on a couple subjects too on the relations between the United States and Islam and stuff like that. So he's definitely not
Mainstream.
Yeah. I remember this guy coming to my school, and he was talking about how hip-hop and popular music today, all they do is it's just a giant advertising. Like, whatever's popular with us is what they'll rap about or what they'll sing about. And he's like, if flowers were popular, then Snoop Dogg would rap about tulips. Like, I still remember that phrase.
Right, and it's probably true. It's probably true.
Yeah, but not with certain guys.
Well,
like
it
Lupe,
depends on the level at which someone is into the art of it or the business of it. Because I find pop music traffics in probably the easiest and dumbest segment within a population, which is the middle school, high school, and early college group.
Yeah, believers, right?
Oh my God! Like you might see some moms into Justin Bieber, but you ain't seen too many intelligent, 31-year-old women. They're like, oh my God, ah!
Right.
That doesn't happen because they're just like, first off, you sound like a girl. Second, you're not telling me anything.
Not only that, though, it's just there's content there at least.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
with
saying. You're
his
not
songs.
saying it. Part of it, the odd path at which I've gone through music was at some point I hit rap going, you know what? You're not telling me anything new. You're rich and you're telling me about how many hoes and drugs. I'm like, all right, I'm moving on. That's how I ended up with Linkin Park. But then anytime I find anyone who's technically good or gives me some content in what they're saying,
Right.
it's usually the rap I'll get into. And
Yeah,
he's one of them.
That's a real hard note, though, to try to get someone who is technically good and also
Oh yeah, no,
intelligent, articulate.
That's
and-
why I don't have much rap left in my folders at home. It's very difficult to not have Lil Wayne or Kanye West be the dominant thing.
Right.
And they have their moments, but they're not worth having because I don't find them to be. They don't tell me anything.
I always found that Lil Wayne was the biggest joke out of all of them. And mind you, he's one of the more famous ones of all.
I think he was better when he was like 18, when he was part of the Hot Boys and whatever the other group that it was. Like I thought he was better then.
He's become a caricature almost.
Oh, absolutely.
He's been a cartoon.
Yeah.
There's been a few rap lyrics that unfortunately they're scarred in my mind because of how bad they are, and I bring them up as examples of why he's not good to his fans. There's one rap where it's called Ransom, and he goes, "I get paid by the letter," and then he literally recites every letter in the alphabet. I get paid by the letter like A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
I found as
He
he's
does all
gone-
26.
Yeah.
The whole
I
thing.
found as he's gotten through his career, it feels to me like his songs become just a successive line of one-liners.
Right.
Like there's nothing that he's talking about. It's just how many one-liners can I fit in a verse and then give you a hook that people will go crazy for,
Right.
and then hit you with a bunch of more one-liners.
Yeah, he's not.
who's the
He's not
comedian?
storyboarding his music. a lot.
No.
Who's a comedian that is like, oh, they never respect my wife?
Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, he's the Rodney Dangerfield. He's
Not
just
even-
a bunch of one-liners.
Not even because there's even a theme to what Dangerfield is saying
That's
about
true.
being unrespected. There's no theme to anything Lil Wayne raps about
Yep.
anymore.
I'm so high I can vomit on a comet. That was one of my favorite ones.
I feel like that's like some shitty 8th grader.
Come on, man. Yeah, I know.
Like I feel like
There's
an
a chair
8th grader
over there.
would pop his collar and be like, "I'm so high, I vomit on a comet," and then pose, and then nobody like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
In the lunchroom.
Oh yeah, it would be in the lunchroom,
I'm
and
sick.
then he'd be the winner because that's the best an 8th grader could do, and he'd get
Sure.
the cookie and walk away.
Sure.
I'm sick like a venereal disease. I'm quoting him. I'm not making it
That's
up.
not even clever.
Lil Weezy.
Oh, Weezy.
You think Chris Bosh is like he's like he'll just burn himself out?
Well, I don't know. Maybe think Chris Bosh is, if in fact the stories are true, he's probably reevaluating his relationship. Sweetheart, really?
Yeah.
Really? There wasn't an electronic device anywhere in the house?
Yeah. Well, we have a lot to get to today on the sports table. Again, want to thank you guys for listening, tuning us in on YouTube, Alan. We're on YouTube.
Yep, the Sports Table Miami, all one word. We set up a channel, slowly putting up our shows. We're at 4 right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead and subscribe.
We will get there. We will
Oh,
get
we
there.
will. We
We're
will.
expanding,
You know, we have to work with technology, and we're not tech guys.
which is
so-
unfortunate because all four of us. none
Man,
of us are.
isn't that incredible that neither one of us has got any desire or interest or abilities when it comes to technology?
There's a desire. Like I desire to hit home runs, but there's no ability there. Either way, we have a ton of stuff to get to. The Heat, they played the Bulls last night and they lost.
Los Chicago come mierdas.
That's gonna
Those MFers.
that's gonna be a few segments because there's plenty to get to. LeBron wins his 4th MVP, which is also big.
Oh, did you see the press event for that?
I saw only bits and pieces.
Oh my God, Mike Miller had the best line.
Oh wait, I heard that
Oh
line.
my
Say
God.
it for when we get there. Save it
say-
for when we get there. We got the stadium for the Miami Dolphins. I mean, yeah, and it didn't even come to a vote. So we got to talk about that. But before we get into anything, there was a big news story. It seems like each show that we come to, there's always a major news story that's outside of the world of sports. And I don't even know how we should bring up this clip. I mean, you guys, I found out about it when you guys walked into the studio. I have not paid any attention to news at all today. So, I mean, there's a big news story. Women were found. Carlos, Allen, I mean, anytime.
I mean, Carlos, you got the actual story. Tell us about the story, and we'll discuss the clip.
It's funny. Charles Ramsey. It's not funny. Charles Ramsey's funny. The hero in this whole thing.
Right.
He's a pretty funny character. It's a pretty tragic story where 3 young ladies, or girls at a time, and one was a young lady. She was 20. Were kidnapped in Cleveland 10 years ago, just about all three within months of each other, and held. And obviously, after 10 years, you start believing that your loved ones are dead. And unfortunately, one of the mothers passed away allegedly of a broken heart, and she was just devastated 3 years after her daughter was taken from her. And the way in the manner in which this was done, holding those girls captive, the details of how they were held captive have yet to come out. Some rumors about the fact that they were chained at the waist and at the neck for 24 hours a day, with only certain distance to move. Those are all rumors from that have been going around, so nothing's been discussed yet. But these three individuals, three brothers, 50, 52, 52, and 54 years old.
Yeah, I saw the pictures. They look pretty old.
Yeah, 52, 54, and 50 years old, the brothers. And the one that is arrested under, or the main subject, was his Ariel Cruz, I think it is, or something. And he's the 52-year-old. And the other two they've still yet to figure out their roles in this thing. Yeah, and how they were involved. But allegedly, these girls, were kept in the house, and he went out. He went out for the day, and one of the girls, Amanda Berry, who was one that she was like 12 when she was kidnapped or something.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, this sounds horrible.
This is a terrible story.
She came running to the door and was banging on the door, yelling and screaming, and then
our hero,
Charles Ramsey, the hero. He comes to the rescue.
What a man.
And kicks the door, the bottom of the door in, and finally he's able to pry the door, which he said could only open 4 or 5 inches, and he pried it open, and she came out, and the yelling and screaming happened, and she was looking for a cell phone. They called 911. She called 911. He called 911, and those calls are pretty classic, especially Charles. Charles calls.
The fun part is, as you're telling this sounds like such a serious story.
It is a serious story.
But the thing is that as when we get it from our hero,
right,
from the man of the hour,
yeah,
it turns into just a complete, I don't even know what to say.
A lot of levity is added to it.
Yeah,
he's
makes
doing it. He makes it non-threatening.
We were just in the back laughing our asses off.
It's true,
because we didn't understand how serious this story is. And we're going to laugh our asses off now as our hero recants us with tales of rescue and just general heroism.
And of his lunch.
That's cheap.
Well,
he was having lunch.
Wait a second.
Before lunch was interrupted.
Before we start breaking it down, can you just imagine, though, that's a decade. What is it, 2003? How much has changed in 10 years? 2003.
I was skinny.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I've got daughters, and now anytime this happens, when it happened with J.C. Dugard and when it happened with Elizabeth Smart, and Polly Klaus years before that, those are times when I go into these deep thought processes of overprotecting my house and overprotecting the kids, and you start to think 10 years without one of my girls at the house, and then find out that they're alive. I don't know how this guy made it to the police department or to jail,
right,
because as a parent, I couldn't allow it. I don't understand. It's such a far-fetched thought of understanding, and how could the parents survive, and then how could these girls survive for 10 years? I mean, it's the human spirit, the ability for us as humans to adapt and to cope with very negative circumstances is on display here at its very best.
Well, Alan, you said that they had a few babies or miscarriages.
The way it sounded when I first heard this story, it seemed like they've had I think the max was 6 babies and maybe 3 miscarriages in the 10 years. So I'm assuming this has just been a horrific dungeon, and they've been just down there like dolls or meat or however you want to say it.
But only one of those babies has come out.
The one that came out, I think, with Amanda Berry.
The 6-year-old that came out with Amanda. The others, there's no evidence of any kids having survived. So they're up, allegedly now they're digging up that whole backyard trying to figure out, where are these alleged kids that were supposed to have been had.
Well, they were rescued. They were saved. They were rescued, like you said, Alan, by the man of the hour.
Charles Ramsey.
A great man.
And he's being in this clip that we're going to play. He's being interviewed by one of the local...
They shall sing of his name for years to come.
One of the local TV stations. And I really don't I don't know how else to explain it, and we'll break it down as
I
the
don't think
video
you can.
goes on.
I think you just need to let him.
Yeah,
hear
we'll let it ride.
Hey, Charles, let me talk to you. I'm talking with Charles Ramsey. He's a neighbor. Walk me through again what happened this afternoon. You heard screaming.
Heard screaming. I meet my McDonald's. I come outside. And I see this girl going.
Wait a second. So he's at the McDonald's, and by the way, just to paint a picture, Charles has got the craziest Don King hair. He's wearing a white T-shirt, and
The dude's got long hair going back, and not back because he wants it back because his hairline is running away from him.
Right.
It's about halfway back on his head, so everything else just falls back like Mozart.
Right. And he is like Wesley Snipes black. That dude is almost purple. But anyway.
And he be eating at McDonald's. Very important that he tell you he was eating McDonald's.
And if we get a chance to play the 911 tape, he'll repeat it again.
Oh, God.
Heard screaming. I meet my McDonald's. I come outside. And I see this girl going nuts, trying to get out of her house. So I go on the porch.
Okay.
I go on the porch, and she says, "Help me get out. I've been in here a long time." So I figured it's a domestic violence dispute. So I open the door, and we can't get in that way because how the door is, it's so much that a body can't fit through, only your hand.
What the hell's that mean?
So we
How
kick
the door
bottom,
is,
and she
it's
comes
so
out
much
with the little girl
that we can't get in there.
It's got to be that they had the little like security chain. That has to be it. But the idea that he couldn't just say it was chain or there was shit in the way.
No, it's so much.
The way the dough is so much.
that a body can't fit through, only your hand. So we kick the bottom.
Wait, does that mean
And
your
she
arm
comes
can't
out
fit?
with the little girl, and she says, "Call 911." My name was Amanda Berry.
Did you know who that was when she said that?
When she told me, it didn't register until I got the call in 911, and then I'm like, I'm calling the 911 for Amanda Berry. I thought this girl was dead. You know what I mean? And she got.
And mind you, we really need to clarify this because other people will be listening to this. We are not in any way downplaying this or making fun of the situation.
Right.
Let it be known here that every one of us at the sports table believes that Charles Ramsey is one hell of a hero.
He's awesome.
He
He's awesome.
is a hero. We're just enjoying him. He is really. If he was
Such
here
a
in Florida,
character,
we
man.
would have invited him on the show.
Oh, come on, man. For sure. He would have been the host.
In fact, we might even try to reach out to him and find him in Cleveland.
Replace Carlo. Replace George with him.
Oh, my God. You know how much better the show is if every time we were able to hear
And I'm like, I'm calling the 911 for Amanda Berry. I thought this girl was dead. You know what I mean? And,
Hey, wait.
and
Would
she
he
got
bring
on the
McDonald's
phone
to
and-
every show?
He's
Because we can work this out. I think George is replaced.
he's very blunt.
Oh, my God.
He's got to have opinions on everything. I'm sure he has more opinions than just they're going to break up the Heat.
Right. Poor George, man. I thought this girl was dead.
And then I'm like, I'm calling the 911 for Amanda Berry. I thought this girl was dead. You know what I mean? And she got on the phone and she said, yes, this is me. And the detective, Cook, right here, Detective Gregory Cook says, Charles, do you know who you rescued? I said,
Now, and when did you see Gina?
about 5.
And here's where they
About
started
5
interrupting him
minutes
to
after
move him about.
The police got here. See, the girl Amanda told the police, I ain't just the only ones. It's some more girls up in that house. So they went up there, 30, 40 deep, and when they came out was just astonishing because I thought they were going to come up with nothing. I figured, whoever she was, and like I say, my neighbor, you got some big testicles to pull this off, bro, because we see this dude every day. Every day.
How long have you lived here?
I've been here a year.
Okay.
You see where I'm coming from?
Right.
I barbecue with this dude. We eat ribs and whatnot and listen to salsa music. You see where I'm coming from?
And you had no indication that there was
Not
anything going on?
not a clue that girl was in that house or anybody else was in there against their will. Because how he is he just comes out to his backyard, plays with the dogs, tinker with his cars and motorcycles, goes back in the house. So he's somebody that you look away because he's not doing nothing but the average stuff. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing exciting about him. Well, until today.
Pause it right there. Pause it right there.
Come on, man.
Okay. If
today.
y'all, no one can see the video because we're talking. It's just sound, but the face because he's in a crowd. They've got all the news swarming him. He's got people everywhere, and he's saying that he's like, "Nah, I didn't think anything." And then literally he starts looking around like he just realizes right there. Wait a minute. There's a lot of cameras everywhere. There's a lot of people. till today.
Till today. It's true. Hold on.
But the average stuff. You see what I'm saying? Ain't nothing exciting about him. Well,
Till today.
He's got great
reaction on the
delivery.
girls' faces. I can't imagine to see the
His
sunlight to
timing
be
is
around the
impeccable.
I knew something was wrong when a little pretty white girl ran into a black man's arms. Something is wrong here. Dead giveaway.
That's a dead giveaway.
Charles, thank you very much.
Dead giveaway.
That's it right there.
That's
the line. That's the line
I'm
right
telling you,
there.
the best part is the poor white guy is trying to get away, and as he's trying to say, Charles, thank you, Charles is just hooking him with a dig. He's refusing every time it's thank. When he hears thank, he just hits another dig giveaway.
To a black man's arms.
And here comes the
Something
landing.
is wrong here.
Stick the landing.
Dead giveaway. Dead giveaway.
Charles, thank you very much.
Dead giveaway.
Thank you very much for your
Because,
time. And
either she homeless or she got problems. That's the only reason why she run to a black man.
Charles, thank you for being here, man. Charles Ramsey, a
Charles.
neighbor, heard
The Russian
screaming,
judge just gave him a 10.
took action,
Stick
went
the landing.
and did what he needed to do. The rest is unfolding before us here on Seymour. I'm going to send it back to you.
Unbelievable.
God bless you, Charles Ramsey. Though.
Big giveaway. Oh, believe Charles is going to be in our next intro. Believe it.
He might be on our show. I'm gonna try to get a hold of him.
Big giveaway. I thought this girl was dead. He's awesome.
Either she homeless or she got problems.
Oh my gosh! Well, in the midst of this dark story, this is Charles is the best.
Charles,
man.
he makes us feel okay about it.
Well, he's got to make the rounds now on late night
Oh,
TV
please,
because the guy has got
please.
spectacularly
He's got the spark.
impeccable
He's got the
comedic
spark.
timing.
Yeah.
I mean,
His timing's
those
awesome.
pauses, he's good.
Wait,
The other thing you couldn't see because it's audio is that beautiful thumbs up at the end.
oh, that's true.
The reporter taps him on the chest when he's finally allowed to walk away, and Ramsey just looks at the camera and not even like a thumbs up out. He just like puts it next to his face and just looks at the camera, like tilts his head like he's
With a
baby
smile,
yet to
man.
just and a thumbs up.
That's awesome. But timing like this, I mean,
Ain't nothing exciting about him. Well, until the day.
come on.
Perfect, man. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you learn at Juilliard. Give me a break, man. People pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for that kind of training. Tell you what, if some of the stuff that on Saturday Night Live recently would have that kind of timing.
Oh my gosh, no, Charles is great. We're gonna find out more about this story, I guess, as the days go on. It's an incredible story. Alan said that this girl was kidnapped, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then he had said something that they had miscarriages, and then I said, how long were they kidnapped? And he drops a decade on me. My mouth was open. I couldn't believe it.
The sad part is that we've already got all the good part.
Yeah, it's not getting any.
From here on out,
yeah.
it's just going to be gruesomely horrific details that we're going to hear, but we're not necessarily going to want to
Yeah,
hear.
I'm not sure we're going to be talking about this much after today because it's just going to get darker, and I'm not sure how much that's going to lend to us as a show. I'm sure we'll all be more informed, but
Right. Well, I mean,
unless Ramsey is somehow involved in something else.
Yeah.
big giveaway.
Well, I mean, if he's going to be on Letterman or
I'm sure we'll get
Fallon,
more clips
we're
from him.
we're promoting that. We're going to
Oh,
push it
for
for
sure,
them.
for sure.
We're going to try to get him as many viewers as
I
possible.
want T-shirts. Dead giveaway.
That's gotta be. That's
I
already
was
gotta be
eating
some
my
memes and
McDonald's.
stuff.
Somebody's already patenting that.
Yeah, man. And the thing is I asked where it was, and then Alan's like, "It's Cleveland," and then we both sort of looked at each other and like, "That's why LeBron left."
LeBron ain't going back.
You
You
know
don't
what?
want to be
LeBron
stuck in
sort
the
of
house.
knows he's been chained there for 7 years. You know.
And he had his escape, so he ain't going back.
Who was his Ramsey? Are we giving that to Riley?
Yeah, no, it's Wade, man. Wade was the one that
Wade.
saved
So
him.
Wade's just dead
Dead giveaway. We're going to put all three together. Dead giveaway.
We're gonna go to break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna actually talk some sports, get into the Heat. A lot to get into there, many levels, and Alan's all upset.
This is going to be a great conversation, though. I think
No,
the
it's
Heat
gonna-
talk is going to be a good Heat talk.
It's gonna be a lot. We got a lot to get to. We'll go to break really quick, and we'll come right back after this.
segment over.
Just under a minute and a half to play in the fourth. Robinson's putting behind the back. Goes to the crossover and hits Nate Robinson, doing it in the face of Mario Chalmers. Chicago by 2. Miami calls for time. Final minute, fourth quarter. Shot clock to 7. Robinson did not want that pick from Noah. Down to 2 on the shot clock. Here's Robinson. He scored! 4-point lead for the Bulls, and Eric Spoelstra calls for time. A 7-0 run by Chicago.
It's a big special win. You know, we did this for a while. Lou was out. He's been sick. You know, he's been hurting. And we just came in playing together, man, and playing as hard as we can, man. No excuses. That's what we got in the room, in the locker room, saying no excuses. And we got enough to win. The guys in the locker room, and we're good.
Here's Ginobili for 3. Timeout, Golden State, the Spurs lead. And Pop isn't upset with Ginobili's three-point attempt there, is he?
I don't know, I was wide open, so I didn't have any other option. If I could have thought about it and do something else, I could have. Probably a second shot I made all day. Good timing though.
I'm from a city in the Midwest, best city in the whole wide, wide world. Say now, I'm from a city in the Midwest, best city in the whole wide, wide world. Say now, I'm from a city in the Midwest, best city in the whole wide, wide world. Hey, city in the whole wide world. Hey, city in the whole wide world. I got my
Welcome back to the Sports Table. That was a couple of the sounds of the games yesterday. The Heat fell to the Bulls. And in double overtime, the Spurs defeated Golden State. This is Lupe Fiasco, Go Gadget Flow. And man, this is pretty good. This is a good job.
I'm surprised you never heard of it.
I've heard a few songs from Lupe Fiasco, but not like this. You know when an album is good when the non-singles are good. Because I'm sure this isn't one of the singles.
I don't think I ever heard this one out there.
Outside the album, yeah.
I know Little Weapon, which I think we'll do next. The one we discussed in the back.
Right.
That one was a single. That one got used in a couple trailers and other things. Superstar was the big one. That was the one that's the reason everybody knows the name. Right. And I think there was another one. Paris, Tokyo. I think that was the other one. But yeah, my view is a good album has no hole.
Right. You're right.
Like the original Linkin Park album we brought up that first time. There isn't a song outside of the couple like DJ things or like little non-songs.
Right.
But every song is good. They aren't like, you know, some of the lesser albums I've heard that the one or two, like there might be 3 good songs and everything else you just skip by.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, no, this is a very solid album. Even the songs I don't really listen to are good. It's just, you know, usually I just want to get to the couple good, the like 5 or 6 good songs of the 13 or whatever it is.
Yeah, but each of them still hold merit. Like
no, they're still good songs.
It's
and
a
they still
solid
have
album.
Yeah, it's a very solid album.
Right.
It's just I'm very impatient sometimes.
Oh yeah. No kidding.
I like to hear about my go get your flow.
I'm impressed.
Sega Genesis.
I'm impressed. And we've only played 2 tracks. So I'm impressed. I like it.
Again, this is, I mean, because it's 4 Cuban guys, and for more or less, we like rock. I know George is into the heavier stuff, and Theo Carlos, you like the, who was the first guy you brought in? The Boss?
Bruce, yeah.
And then you did Barry, which was great.
The Barry.
It was very great. So, and it's funny because you can tell the personality that they bring to the show with the music that they bring, because George has got the heavy stuff. You brought in Barry, which is just again awesome. I had like System of a Down. Last week was Rage Against the Machine. I think I had Beastie Boys was the first one
Beastie
ever.
was the first one, yeah.
And then Alan, you had Lupe, and then I know the time before.
I've had Linkin Park. I've had the Game of Thrones one.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I think 2 of the songs were trailer ones anyway.
Right.
And then
this one, yeah.
Who within the Go Gadget flow was talking about Sega Genesis.
Right. So, I mean, it's funny how each of us bring our own flavor and zest to the show, and that's what you get here at the Sports Table. So, again, we started off the show playing some highlights of Nate Robinson just
torching.
doing what he wanted.
Poor Ray Allen.
Yeah, to
Poor
Ray Allen to the Heat. And later on, Ginobili hits a huge 3 in double overtime against
I wish I would have
Golden
seen
State.
that game.
I know,
man.
me too.
No, but the great thing is that was followed by a spectacular game where Durant had to come down and hit a shot with less than 10 seconds left to win.
Yeah,
that game.
that was the day before.
The day before,
Yeah.
and the other game went down to the last shot. I mean,
Nah,
theoretically, those games
Those
could have ended.
stinky
Man.
Knicks.
Yeah, but those
They
games, all 4 games had the home team losing, and very very closely had all 4 of them losing.
Well, no, San Antonio won.
no, San
Yeah,
Antonio
but
won.
they were in a fight.
But they were in
for
a
it.
fight, right,
Yeah,
right.
all
They
of them
won on
had
a-
the home team
right.
in a fight.
Yeah,
Right.
they won on a 3-point shot at the end of the game, and so did Oklahoma
Double
City.
overtime.
I mean, that's it was fun to see how all 4 games were so competitive.
Well, I'll tell you what, to be honest with you, the first half of the Heat Bulls game it put me to sleep. It was so boring. And it was ugly basketball. It was something that I wasn't used to all season. They scored 37, what is it, 37 and a half, 35
It
and a
was
half?
something like
37,
that. It was
37.
It was
37.
That's a good
At
quarter.
half.
That's a good quarter for the Heat.
yeah.
It was ugly. It was hard to watch.
The thing that made it okay for me to watch is I was watching the Heat do something I hadn't seen them do in their like half court traps and full court pressure, which to me is majestic.
Well, if you noticed, because I'm right along with you on that. I enjoyed the fact that I saw a half court press and a full court press. They had who in the game? They had Teague in the game, and they had Daquan Cook in the game, and they were getting hammered by the D.
That's one of those situations. And I used to do this when I had Josh. It was you look at what's there, and then you smile.
And you
I used
go
to do a
get 'em.
thing. You set up a zone and you just yell, and they all just run out and get man. And I would wait for that one fat kid that couldn't dribble. When it got to his hands, no.
Right.
That's exactly what the Heat did. They're like, oh, we're to pick on you. We got, but it's just they were so bad on offense. It was so unusual for them.
I mean, normally I don't give much credence to the commentators. Early in the game, they made a few good comments, and I think it was Kerr that made the comments when he was saying that the Heat are getting very, very good looks and easy looks at the basket, while the Bulls, every single attempt is a challenged, difficult shot.
Right.
And that was exactly true for the first half of the game, but it did not evolve that way in the second half at all.
I described the Bulls and the series as a hard turd. You know when you're taking a dump and you have that turd that just hurts on the way out, and you got to fight for every centimeter and every inch, and it's painful the whole way through.
But inevitably,
you're gonna pass it. But my God, it's painful to watch and it's painful to go through. That's what Chicago is.
Right.
And then I added that Joakim Noah is just a hemorrhoid. So.
you know what? After all is said and done, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think that's going to help the Heat go into the Eastern Conference championships, and I think it'll help the Heat in the finals.
What, the finals?
Yeah.
Well, the game ended up 93-86. Bulls win in Miami, which is that in itself is a big deal.
Well, it also makes another anomaly. You let a Bulls team that looked like the damn Walking Dead score how many points in the second half?
35 in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's
35 in the fourth quarter, exactly.
I'd venture to say there aren't many games where in any quarter the Heat gave up 35 points. Not many. They did, but not many.
It was the most, actually, that they've ever given up in a quarter.
Look at that.
And it was 15 was the lowest, and the first quarter was the lowest total that they.
So they scored the lowest they've ever scored this season and gave up the most they've ever given up in a quarter.
With LeBron,
and they did it both in one game.
With LeBron for the first time in a long, I think that his career playoff low in a half with 2 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean all those things put together. You got no Bosh, you got very minimal Wade. You got nothing from nobody.
Oh, Mike Miller came in, hit his first, missed 4 straight.
Yeah, he came out the Lazarus pit, that bastard.
Hit 1, missed 4. Battier was 0 for 5 or something.
Battier was 2 for 7 from the field.
Isn't that why Mike Miller was in there? Because Battier was just
so
throwing up rocks.
Listen, Ray Allen was the same way. Ray Allen was off too. He went 2 for 7, also 1 for 4 from downtown.
I think LeBron barely got into the 40% range.
And here's I think there's the key to the whole thing is the Heat, I think by all admissions, played a pretty pathetic game on offense and on defense.
Well, I mean, I'll even go farther than that. I don't think the Heat played particularly well against Milwaukee.
No, they didn't. They
didn't.
looked better than they played because Milwaukee is that bad.
It's so bad.
And they pulled the old UM cruise into the fourth quarter, and then, zip.
Yeah, but listen, in the last 2 minutes and change, the Heat had a 7-point lead.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they played horrific basketball.
Yeah.
Really, really about as bad basketball as they've played at least since the early part of November. It's been a long time since we sat back and said, damn, these guys have played a really bad game.
Well, I mean, this is the first time since they lost to Chicago that they've faced a tough defense. This is the toughest defense that they've played against since Chicago itself.
Yeah, and I think that'll be the case throughout the playoffs.
I was like a month and a half ago.
Let's not forget also that's the toughest defense because they're cloaked in the plague.
They're cloaked in the plague,
dude. Like, are you kidding? You got vomiters. You got Sucio Joakim Noah.
Right.
You have Luol Deng with a spinal tap.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous.
They're gonna play defense. I mean, Thibodeau's proven already that his team's gonna come out and compete, and they're gonna compete every single minute that they're out there. And I don't think that's any revelation on my part. I think that's an obvious thing right now, and the Heat know that. I mean, I don't think there's any question to that. I don't think they were outcoached. I don't think they were outplayed. I just think that they
were outplayed.
They were outplayed in the sense that they didn't play well. Chicago played better, but I don't think that they played their game, and they didn't play up to their level of play. And had they done that, it would have been a 10, 12, 15-point game.
What was the gap? 6 points, 4 points?
Where's
and
that?
That's with everyone just giving you bleh for
well, I mean, let's break it down because I always saw Miami, and it happened during the 27-game win streak. When they face inferior talent, they sort of coast.
Yeah,
that's what they did against
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Relaxed until the fourth quarter. Usually.
Exactly. And Chicago was, again, it's that turd that it'll fight till the very end, and they were able to keep it close. I kept saying as I'm watching the game, they're too close. They're too close. The Heat couldn't pull away. They're too close. Chicago's too close.
Yeah.
And then Chicago was the one to able, because of Nate Robinson, to go on that little streak. What's this guy's name? The Italian. Bellinelli hits a late three towards the end, and then Wade takes a terrible three.
Oh, that was bad.
LeBron airballs it. Chris Bosh misses one of those shots. I mean, it was just they played their game, and Miami was subpar.
Right. And still had a lead with 2 minutes to go. After all that, we can say all we want. They were out-rebounded badly in double digits. They did not play good defense in that fourth quarter or third quarter, for that matter.
Terrible.
They took very, very poor shots, and they didn't hit the good shots that they took. They still had a lead with 2 minutes to go.
Which is all the more reason why you should. No one should be worried about it.
No, I don't think anybody is.
Are you kidding? In this city full of bobos that we have, are you kidding?
I think if they're worried, then they haven't been watching the Heat all season.
And what city do we live in, Chris? I mean, there's plenty of people that only watch when they hear it's a big game or it's a chance to go to a bar or something.
And remember, during the course of the last 40, 45 games, there's always been that 12-0, 15-0, 17-0, 21-2 run.
Yeah, it just didn't come this time.
That didn't happen. There was a 7-0 run. That was it. And that was matched by the Bulls to close the game out. So, that didn't come. And that run is always predicated on what? On their defense.
Yeah. I'll show you the a little bit of a quandary, the plus minuses for the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Guess who had the lowest plus minus on both teams?
I'm going to go with Nate for the Bulls.
No, lowest.
Oh, you mean like in the negatives?
Negative, yeah.
All right. Negatives.
Dwayne?
Really quick, Alan? Because no one wants to hear you sigh outside.
You know what? I'm gonna go Chalmers.
No, it was LeBron. LeBron.
Yeah,
was
makes sense.
-15, followed shortly by Chris Bosh at -11, and then Wade. Wade was actually positive, even though he took a terrible three at the end, unbelievable three. But yeah, so LeBron was off his game, and who? I'm watching the starting lineup for Chicago, and I'm laughing. Who the freak is Jimmy Butler? You know what I mean? Like Marco Bellinelli, that's who you're going to throw at the Heat?
Didn't we draft Jimmy Butler?
I don't know.
I feel...
No, I don't think so. I don't remember him as
I remember we got a guy out of Marquette that he was hurt.
It was Jimmy Butler, actually, because Jimmy Butler's from Marquette.
Yeah. It was a guy out of Marquette that his leg was messed up, but we drafted him, came into camp, and at the end of camp, we just cut him, which I guess he's moved on. Right. By the way, how impressive has that guy been? Played all 48 minutes of the last 3 games.
That's remarkable. It's only his second year, so he's still a young guy. But yeah,
I can't even sleep for 48 minutes straight, let alone play basketball.
And
for
he's-
48
and-
minutes.
Forget
and
let alone
he's-
play, but for having to deal with Wade and LeBron.
That's the thing.
For the
He's
48
he's the
minutes.
main guy that's on the defense, that's
And I-
covering the wings.
And I think LeBron's going to take that to task.
Oh no!
Oh, he's gonna get
He's
worked.
got
He's
got
gonna
some
get
film
worked.
and the experience. That's the thing that teams like Chicago, sometimes you just need to get that first punch in the face from them
Right.
to understand it. Like that last time that we went out to the park, we had to get used to whoever we were playing. They sucked. They won the first game, and then we ran 4 in a row on them.
Right.
You just got to get used to it, and that's what Chicago is.
Well, you think it's funny, that they're playing Jimmy Butler and he's playing 48 minutes. Do you know who the next on the depth chart? I mean, I know it's all rotation stuff, but the next small forward for Chicago is Vladimir Radmanovich.
He's still in the league.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. Because if Jimmy Butler goes down or whatever, Luol Deng had a botched spinal tap.
Yeah, he's not playing already.
He's
I already
not gonna.
said it.
He's not gonna be there.
He won't be there.
And then there's no one else. Daquan Cook. There's no one else to cover a wing guy. Marco Bellinelli. Like there's
Throw
no
Cook
one.
out there. I want some Cook.
Yeah. Taj Gibson. You know what I mean? Like they have no one else but Jimmy, so he's forced basically. I mean, I've never seen this deal. You and Alan, both of you guys have watched and know about basketball or any other sport longer than I have, but this team is missing their 3 top guys: Kirk Heinrich, Luol Deng, and Derrick Rose. And their defense, okay, it's systematic. They'll wear you down. But damn, man, they scored 93 points against Miami without their top 3 guys. I've never seen that. I've never seen. They advanced in the playoffs. They beat. Now Brooklyn is just like pathetic.
Yeah, I don't know what to. I was telling my uncle, I don't know what to make of Brooklyn because that team should be good, and it just seems like it doesn't. I don't know if they just can't take the punch you in the face team very well, and that might just be
That's
it.
what Chicago is.
That's what Chicago is. They might just that just might be the type of team that they can't take very well.
Right.
But I mean, you've got 2 max contract guys, and I'd say a top 10 center in Brook Lopez.
Yeah, easy.
Which is not. You might even argue top 5, but I almost
He
don't want
definitely
to.
is
I don't
top
want to
five.
make top. I don't want to make top 5 because he just. I don't think he's that good.
No, there aren't many that
But
good.
that's the state of the centers in the NBA.
Right.
But you got all that, and they just got punched in the face by a team that was dying of the plague.
It's true that everyone was hurt. Nate Robinson was puking in the sideline. What's this guy's name? Joking. No, he had plantar fasciitis on his foot.
Yeah, you know what? One day ask Pez how that feels. I think Pez had that.
No, I heard
it
it's
is
terrible. It's gruesome.
horrible. And he's out there, his sucio self.
And it doesn't go away that quickly. He's
no,
still
no.
playing with that.
Yeah, it's there, and
He's
I'm
playing
sure.
with pain.
I'm sure the minute he has to stop moving, that thing just becomes a
Swells.
swell.
Yeah, it's got to. I mean, they have a bunch of solid guys. Carlos Boozer, whatever you take from him for what he is. Joakim Noah is a good player.
Mm-hmm.
He is annoying. He's annoying.
He can play on. He
He's
can play on
annoying.
my team anytime, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Only
of
if
course.
they hose him
He's
down.
one of those guys.
He's one of those guys.
No. Only if they hose him down and use bleach.
Come
Cut
on,
his
man.
hair.
We had Turioff. We can take.
No, Turioff was just stinky. Ete just looks like a sucio.
Turioff looks sucio.
And
too,
it might
man.
just be my opinion is
Turioff had
swayed.
grease stains on his back.
Okay. This might be my opinion being swayed by him being like the star Chicago Come Mierda in the Pepe Viete videos. Because that was like picture A of Chicago Come Mierdas. Have you ever seen Pepe Viete, by the way?
Yeah, I have.
Oh.
Not much, but I have.
I almost want to watch him again now.
Mhm.
La única cosa en Chicago es fríos y come mierdas.
Well, listen, they beat the Heat.
Yeah, we look like the come mierdas right
Yeah,
now.
exactly. I really thought Miami had a chance to go and sweep these guys and sweep the next round.
Oh, they did, but they just came back from a cruise.
Do
Do
you think that? I mean,
they
people
were on the Lido deck having ice cream?
Do you think that has to do with part of the reason that they
I
lost?
think that's probably why they were off rhythm to start.
Mhm.
And then once you're off rhythm, we've all played at some level. Once you start like crap, it affects you for the rest of the quarter. Even if you start to pick it up, you're picking it up in spite of starting like crap.
Right.
So, it really does help if you start off well. And they just like all season long, we've been saying how Battier has been very consistent. He's hitting everything, and he was so bad that they sent in broken down Mike Miller.
He went 2 for 7. Yep. I mean, he started off terrible.
And the little bit of the first half that I was able to watch, he got some shots that you dream of.
Mhm.
Like he took a dribble and no one came to him, and he looked around like, "You guys know I only shoot threes, right?
The horse.
All right, I'm gonna shoot another one."
I mean, I'm looking at the box score, and I know it's not just the box score, but there are some things that pop out at you. Wade had no free throws.
Yeah, no free throws. Bosch, I think, had 9 points.
Well, between Wade, LeBron, and Bosch, they had what, 8 or 9 free throws?
They had 11 free throws taken.
Wow,
Yep,
by those 3 guys?
by the 3 of them.
Whew. Tough
So,
to win a basketball game.
I mean,
like that.
some of these stats are aberrations. They're not gonna. It's out of the ordinary for them to happen, and it happened. It just so happened that it happened in the same. It's how many times I said happened. It happened in the same game. You know, all these things. Wade not taking any free throws. LeBron James turning the ball over and being bad on defense. You know, and then all the guys off the bench missing threes and taking bad shots. So,
I think one of the keys is to bring Bosch a little bit closer to the basket now. Get him to that 16, 18-foot range and start hitting those shots that he's very, very comfortable with. Those elbow shots from the key, a little bit on the wing where he's 16, 18 feet away.
And it's so important.
Draw Joe Kim out of that.
It's so important because if he can't hit that, then LeBron and Wade are just running into a sucio over and over again.
He's just going to stay there.
And he affected them. You could see it on the drives.
Of course he affected them. You don't want lice.
Well, listen, we're going to go to break. We're going to come back. We're just barely scratching the surface with the Heat.
No, it's 2 minutes left, and and the Knicks are up 18.
Really?
No! The stinky Knicks.
99-71.
We got so much basketball to cover because I want to get into LeBron and the MVP. I want to get into Derrick Rose.
Yes, I got a couple things to say on Derrick Rose.
Know, we still got some stuff to cover with the Chicago game and then the other games, of course, like Theo was saying. We got to get to so much more to cover. We'll get to all that right after this.
Now Lil Terry got a gun he got from the store. He bought it with the money he got from his chores. He robbed a candy shop, told her lay down on the floor. Put the cookies in the bag, take the pennies out the drawer. Look, Khalil got a gun he got from the rebels to kill the infidels and American devils. A bomb on his waist, a mask on his face. Prays 5 times a day and listens to heavy metal. Little Alex got a gun he took from his dad that he snuck into school in his black book bag. His black nail polish, black boots and black hat. He gon' blow away the bully that just pushed his ass.
Killed another man today. Shot him in his back as he ran away. Then I blew up his hut with a hand grenade. Cut his wife throat and she put her hands to pray. Just 5 more dogs, then we can get a soccer ball. That's what my commander say. How old? Well, I'm like 10, 11. Been fighting since I was like 6 or 7. Now I don't know much about where I'm from, but I know I strike fear everywhere I come. Government want me dead, so I wear my gun. I really want the rocket launcher, but I'm still too young. This candy give me courage not to fear no one, to feel no pain and hear no tongue. So I hear no screams and I shed no tear if I'm in your
I mean,
dreams.
if it's gonna cause emotions out of Allen,
The fact that I started with "I'm concerned if we should play that beginning clip."
it's true. I mean, I don't know if you want to break it down. Allen, the song is about more than just getting weed and banging chicks.
I can't hear you, so I don't know what you just said.
You can't hear me?
No.
I was saying that the song's more. It's more than just banging chicks and.
No, it's beyond the art. He's hitting really harsh subject matter. Children soldiers in Africa, but the way he's going about it, where he's telling you, look, you guys think you're tough. There's an entire continent of 10-year-olds with genocide on their list. They don't read because all they're doing is in war. That's subject matter you don't hear within rap or hip hop or any form of genre you can put together. That's not usually from there.
Right. That's heavy. It's heavy.
Oh yeah.
The song again is called "Little Weapon."
And if you can get past the heaviness, it's technically he's very good in delivering every verse, every line,
Right.
and the background, the actual beat. They've used it in movies. It's a good beat.
Yeah. It's from the album The Cool, so I guess we'd all have to check that out. I want to check that out, man.
All right, he's got good political views, too, because it says here that Lupe Fiasco calls President Obama a terrorist on Bill O'Reilly. Nice. A little brother on brother crime. All right.
I gotta clear something up.
I'm gonna
okay?
have to research that a little bit.
I gotta clear something up. Like I'm not a far right or far left. I'm actually pretty in the middle. I'm registered independent. But my family, you're independent.
I've been independent since I registered.
Okay, well, your beliefs and what you say is not how you're registered.
Sometimes I play for effect.
Because, man, I have some right wingers in my casa, dude. Not my brothers or my mom, but I got a couple aunts.
There are some things that our illustrious leader has done recently in the last few months. Covering up of Benghazi and things of that issue that really bother me.
God.
I mean, when you give a stand down order and don't allow your Marines to go defend your other members of your embassy, I got a problem with that. And then deny it. At least come out and say, yeah, I didn't want anybody else to get hurt. Just step back, but to deny it and try to hide, it's all coming out. It'll be out tomorrow. There's 3 whistleblowers. It's going to bring down the administration.
I'm gonna put a pin in that.
Put a pin in
that. We'll come back to this.
I hope we come full circle. Because there's a discussion we need to have.
Well, we'll get to it right now. We're going to pick up where we left off, covering the playoffs and the Heat and basketball.
Never forget, Abraham Lincoln was a Republican.
What?
I'm not sure the parties were quite the same.
What?
He was a Republican, though. When we come to the.
But you're an independent. You just said it.
Yeah, we'll touch on that when we come pull the pin out of the other one.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Right now, we're gonna get into the basketball. I wanted to get into personally a little, I guess, controversy that was brewing last week. Now, it's not a controversy because LeBron, won his 4th MVP. It was the way that he won his MVP, and people were upset that it wasn't unanimous.
Who cares, man?
That's the normal reaction.
Well, I think a lot of people care, and I think they care because it's something that has never been done,
right?
And won't be done again for quite a while. So I think that's why they care.
I think I would side with Allen if the excuse, or not the excuse, the reasoning behind why he didn't vote for LeBron was a little bit more sound. I'll read you the quote. The quote was from the Boston Globe's writer, Gary Washburn, and he says, I just honestly felt that Carmelo lifted the Knicks to new heights this season, a number 2 seed and their first division title in 19 years. With an aging roster and the team's second-best player, Stoudemire, out for most of the season, and a myriad of injuries, Carmelo deserved the MVP. He also goes on to say if you were to take Carmelo off the Knicks and they would be a lottery team, and if you were to take LeBron off the Heat would still be in the playoffs.
That's probably true.
That's true.
No, it's absolutely true.
But
that old-ass team wouldn't do crap.
Can we take it a step further, though? If we took Carmelo and put him on the Heat, and we took LeBron and put him on the Knicks, I think the Knicks would improve more.
Oh, by far.
And the Heat will drop in production.
There's no 27-game win streak if they switch.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't win 41 out of 43.
Actually, it probably looks a lot more like that first year where everything was clunky and you don't know how to mix it. That's probably what it looks like because he can't make Amari Stoudemire work with him. And Amari's basic role is pick and roll, and he's just going to crash at the rim.
Right.
That's all he does, really. And you can't make that work. That's simple. We play with guys who don't play basketball, and we do that with people.
Mm-hmm.
That's an easy thing to work with, and Carmelo can't do that. LeBron can work with anything.
I think the problem in this debate is, the definition of what MVP means.
It's completely the award's fault. That award does not tell you any real criteria you're aiming for because he's looking at value to team. I look at which guy had the most prolific year. Some people just say the MVP is the best player in the league that year.
Yep.
It might be just the best player overall. Like there are people that would vote for Kobe Bryant because they feel like he's still the best player in the league. There are people that will vote for KD because they think he's the best player in the league. So you've got no criteria, and then you have all these. Like it's not as diluted as the very infamous Heisman vote that Gonzalo Lebitard has. These guys are beat writers. These guys are. It's only 121 people, smaller group, and they're all supposed to be legitimate. The thing is, you're still working with people who have their own biases. This guy's from Boston, so already you assume he's not going to really like the Heat.
And but he voted
he's
for
more
Nick.
Okay,
so
but he's also more closely. He's going to observe the Knicks more than the Heat because that's the division.
Right.
So he might be more focused on what Carmelo does, and he might have felt the pain of it more because Carmelo might have done it to the Celtics.
I feel like a little bit more of the reasoning behind it is when he did make the vote, it was in April when Carmelo was going 30 a game and the Heat were cruising because they had lost.
Yeah, that's the other thing
Chicago.
we didn't mention. He made it. What was it? Beginning of April.
Right.
Like he made that vote a while ago, during, like you said, Carmelo's big hot streak where he's throwing up with 30-point game, 40-point games every night, and the Heat had already started registering for the cruise they were on. By the way, how many ice creams you think Udonis has?
Ice creams?
Yeah, you never been on a cruise, bro?
No, I've never been on a cruise.
The best thing is they always have soft serve ice cream whenever you want.
Right.
So you just walk up to it and
Speaking of
ice cream.
Yeah. Speaking of ice cream, I saw LeBron actually at Menchie's on Friday, the day that he won the MVP. I swear, I have a picture of it. He was there with his kids. And the thing is, I forgot to say congratulations. Yes.
That's the other thing about the press conference I was telling you about. His kids came up on stage with him. You had one of them just looking at random cameras, pointing them out. The other one's there like a statue.
Right.
Because he knows he doesn't want to get in trouble.
I'll tell you what, they are trained. Because, LeBron got mobbed. There were probably 15, 20 people in the Menchie's. More people coming once they saw that LeBron was in there. And the kids were focused. They knew what they weren't flustered. They weren't shocked by all this stuff. They've been through it.
Yeah.
And LeBron was the same way.
They know who Dad is.
Yeah. Dad is the most famous athlete in the world.
Yep. Him and Mike Miller now have 4 MVPs together.
That was
God,
great.
Mike. I'm watching that thing, and there's some parts where you laugh. You're like, Chalmers seems very chummy, and they show the quick video of him having a good conversation. They don't show him being yelled at. We got to hear Joel Anthony talk for the first time in a couple of years. that mouth does not say a word.
Right.
You got who's that guy, and then you have to that's Bernardo. That's the 15th guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to Mike Miller, and you're like, oh, well. First off, I thought Bosch was going to do something, and he was very calm.
Bosch hasn't done anything.
Yeah, but Bosch has calmed down. I guess I don't know if the baby's keeping him up or something.
Right.
But it gets to Mike Miller, and he just with a straight face looks in the camera, like, yeah, no, I'm very proud. Now, between you and me, we've got 4 MVPs. He just very straight face, a little nod, and it moves on. And I just laugh. I was on my uncle's couch. I was just laughing so hard.
Right. So just to go over, it's a non-story, but it's a story a little bit to me because damn, man, you have to pick Carmelo out of all the guys that are out there. It had to be Carmelo.
Did he come in third?
I don't know what it was.
That's the thing is it was
a
like
distant
the most
third.
it was an absolute landslide from first to second, except for that one blemish where they gave Carmelo that one first place vote. He got some thirds, I think. I think he won third by marginal points. There were still some other ones for Chris Paul, for Kobe, but he wasn't even in contention for second.
If he voted for LeBron last year, because if he voted for LeBron last year, LeBron has had a better year this year than he did last year.
Well, but again, that goes back to the award being faulty, because we're looking at it. Look, you and me will look at metrics and look at body of work in the season. Some people don't do that. He might really believe that the more valuable player to the entirety of the team is Carmelo, just on talent disparity. From LeBron to Wade, it's not the same gap as from Carmelo to who we claiming is the second best player. JR?
Got to be Reed.
JR.
Yeah, it's got to be JR, and JR is the sixth man. So not even amongst the starters, it's the sixth man is the next guy. So you can see the argument kind of build. I disagree with it, but it's the award's fault.
You know what? If Melo was shooting 44%, 45%, 46%, 47%, 48%, any one of those numbers, I'd be okay with it. But the fact that the guy's shooting in the high 30s, early 40s, I mean, if you're taking 28, 30 shots to score 28 to 30 points, I don't consider you
it's
an
a
MVP.
detriment.
Yeah, I don't consider you an MVP
It's
candidate.
the Antoine Walker syndrome, right?
How much did you enjoy that stat I gave you between segments?
I loved it. I think LeBron's missed 22 shots in the first series against the Bucks, 4 games, and Melo's missed 17 or 18 shots in the first game that he played. That's a microcosm of what they are. That's a microcosm of what they are and what they will continue to be.
Shout out to Jason for that stat, by the way.
Thanks, Chase.
Well, from one minor controversy to a pretty big one that's been going around in sports, especially in the playoffs right now, Derrick Rose is looking real nice in his suits. Derrick Rose is looking real pretty as teammates are getting spinal taps and puking up and getting stitches in the face, and Joakim Noah's limping around, grabbing double rebounds, and there's Derrick Rose clapping. You saw him cheering Bellinelli.
He's got a great fist
Nate
pump.
Robinson.
He does.
Brings it from the shoulder all the way up and follows through. Great fist pump.
But he won't dance at the All-Star game.
No, he won't.
No, he's too serious. He
too serious.
He loves basketball too much to dance.
Yeah.
And he's watching his teammates struggle and be a turd on the floor, and he is just there on the sidelines.
How long has it been since his surgery?
It's been 13 months.
It was last year, and he was
13
cleared.
months.
He's been
13
cleared for a month
2
and a
months.
half. 2 months?
Yeah. He's been cleared for 2 months. And the reasoning behind it, he said he's not mentally ready yet. He's still getting himself in full 100% game mode. Physically, he's been cleared. But everything else about his game, he feels that he's not ready yet.
Do we remember who else had an ACL issue?
Well,
13 months
I think
ago?
part of why this has become a story is that Adrian Peterson has made the ACL.
Yeah, but not so much Adrian.
It would have been that 2 months ago.
Right.
Yeah,
but
but
not
right now, at the 13th month, what other NBA player 13 months ago, the same evening that he blew out his knee,
I was to say there was someone else that
blew out
series.
his knee?
I don't remember.
Ian Shumpert.
Really?
That's right. Yeah.
Ian Shumpert's been playing for 2 months
and
already.
he's been playing in our TVs already with that
For 2
stupid
months.
haircut and the bow ties.
So if Happy Time Flat Top guy can be on the court playing and sinking threes and defending and he had an incredible putback dunk early in this game today, is he stronger mentally than Rose is? Is that what you're telling me, that Rose is weak mentally, or is Rose saying that he's weak mentally and Ian Shumpert, who's never won an MVP award, he's much stronger mentally?
Phony MVP.
Than the phony MVP.
Well, listen.
I don't know what the thing is that, all right, like I've had back problems from during high school. So you can imagine I was actually within some good physical shape. I haven't shown you the picture that you won't believe what
Carlos
you see.
is looking in disbelief.
I'd like to see the picture.
You will, yeah. No, in high school, I was not this round at all. I was actually in great shape.
Okay.
And I hurt my back going into senior year.
I say it with a little trepidation.
I know.
Okay.
No, look, I deserve it. I've done this to myself. But beside the point. So I hurt my back going into senior year, and I am always paranoid whenever I feel my back get tight. So I can understand someone being concerned after having already been burnt because he got hurt before, tried to rush back, and that's why he got hurt this time.
Right.
So I can understand the trepidation, but the thing is that the way it's come down, the Bulls haven't done him any favors because they said he was cleared for basketball activities. That's kind of vague because that doesn't necessarily mean games, but it can mean games. Then they leave him not like they won't say he's shut down. Period. That he's not coming back. They leave the door open. He doesn't close it. He doesn't do himself any favors.
Shoot, pull up on YouTube or on one of these sites and pull up Derrick Rose pregame or pull up Derrick Rose practice.
He's been practicing.
He's practicing at full speed.
He doesn't. He's not doing himself
up and down the court.
If he was that concerned about his knee, which can be understandable, why is he practicing
full on 5
why?
on 5?
And then he goes out and makes comments like it's a muscle memory issue.
Muscle
Hey,
memory.
listen. I'm not an NBA athlete. I don't pretend to be one. I don't play one on TV. But I've had 3 ACL reconstructions. I understand what an ACL reconstruction entitles and how to get back from it. And if a slug like me can be out playing pickup ball, a year after 12 months, 11 months after having ACL reconstruction and having Jonathan Jose Garcia, whatever his name was, be my therapist for 45 minutes a day for, 3 times a week and get me in condition where I can, theoretically participate in a pseudo pickup basketball game, then I think those medical miracle doctors they have in the NBA.
Well, I mean, just say it then.
Do it.
Is Derrick Rose mentally weak? Is he not?
I think he's mentally pudding.
I think he's just dumb.
Well, I'll tell you this.
This can go back to the SAT thing. He's just dumb because at some point along the line,
He's scared, man. It's not about intelligence because I understand your point that yes,
even if
he
he's
cannot do it.
even if he's afraid, say something to shut it down because
can't.
the way
It's
he's
true.
leaving it open,
Well,
makes it worse for himself.
He's making it more open. I think
Yeah.
he's going to open it up for Game 3. I think that's what he's been waiting for. But he said, I wouldn't be going through this sort of process of coming back if there wasn't a chance of me coming back. That's what he said.
But then he'll say it's up to God and how I feel that day.
Okay, what
And-
is he ready to play 5 minutes a game, 7 minutes
Well,
a game,
that's
12
the other
minutes a
thing.
game?
That's the I
What's
don't-
he going to commit
Okay,
to?
he has to make a decision and say, you know what? All right, coach, I can do 15. Or coach, shut me down. Tell them I'm shut down. Say something definitive so that we're not all sitting here wondering as we're watching his team die of the fucking plague.
That's the worst
going out
part of
there.
it. Isn't that the worst part of it? That
No,
his
the worst
teammates
part-
are out
I
there
think
and struggling.
I think the worst part is that they're all showing incredible restraint and support for him. That's the worst part. That he's letting
I don't know
them
about
down.
that.
Well,
Well, no.
he's killing them.
Okay.
He's letting them down. They're sitting there fighting and struggling.
That's what
and
I
they're-
think it
and,
is.
And they're talking and they're protecting him at every turn, every time the question comes up.
Right.
And yet he's not stepping up and saying, I'm going to play or I'm not going to play or you know what? 3 minutes a quarter, max.
Mm-hmm.
And if I need to come out, I'll let you know. You pick the 3 minutes and when I come in and out. Do something, man. Shit or get off the pot. One or the other, man.
I've never liked calling people mentally weak because I don't understand sort of how you would define that.
Didn't we
But-
go through
but-
this?
but-
Didn't we
well,
go
but
through
wait.
this with LeBron?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I don't like to do it either because they claimed it to LeBron and he was mentally weak until he won, which proves that he was always strong. Whatever. So that's the argument. I don't like doing it, but if you look in the past, Derrick Rose when he played in Memphis and he was playing the championship game, he missed free throws that could have won
Clinch.
the title.
Yep.
When he played against Miami the first time through, he missed free throws that could have won a couple games too.
Mhm.
And now he's been cleared to play for 2 months, and I feel like he's just hoping this season will come to an end. I feel like I honestly feel I know he's team guy and he loves basketball, but I feel like he wishes that they would have lost Game 7 to New Jersey.
Well,
I'm
it would have been
guessing-
over.
Yeah, the best.
Yeah,
No,
'cause
the
it would've
best.
been
The best
over.
thing for him would have been being swept out of the series with the Nets.
Right.
So there's no question he would have just been. He would have made it in like a week or two, but it didn't. It didn't happen.
Because now everyone, including myself, is saying, what will this team look like if they had Derrick Rose out there?
Or more importantly, let's say something out of the ordinary happens and they win a second game. Do they really need Derrick Rose to win?
Of course they do. Of
Well,
course
no.
they do.
All right. Here, the thing about it is, similar to how like Carmelo, he's a guy who takes a lot of shots. He passes. And he gets everybody involved, but he centralizes the ball into his hands.
Mhm.
Whereas without him, outside of when Nate Robinson goes, batshit crazy in random spurts, the ball is always in someone new's hands. It makes it harder to defend. We've done this even in pickup games.
Hey, Rondo.
Yeah. Rondo wants the ball in his hands, so he makes the assist. They were more efficient offensively with a bunch of, a dude with a heart condition, two, ancient mummies, and some guys.
Not better.
Just more efficient. Just more efficient. Things worked smoother.
So how happy can Rose be that his team is advancing and progressing without him?
I've never seen this before. Why does Derrick Rose get the pass?
Right.
Why? Because he's quiet, humble guy that was the symbol for anti-LeBron when everyone hated LeBron.
Kevin Durant can pull this off?
For now, yeah.
I mean, Kobe. I don't think Kobe can pull this off.
No. Kobe.
I don't think Carmelo
can
can pull this
No,
off.
Kobe can, but Kobe didn't give a damn.
Did you see Kobe Bryant? He tried to walk on the court with a freaking torn Achilles tendon.
Oh my God!
It just collapsed on him. But that son of a bitch tried to get back on the court. That man. That's the player. That's
what you want.
I'm not a Kobe fan because of whatever, but I love that about Kobe. That man, he'll freaking stick his hand in your heart and rip it out your chest at midcourt and say he didn't touch you.
Right. I mean, there's not many guys that get this pass.
That's true.
That Derrick Rose has.
It's anyone who you get the feeling they're a nice guy. They become darlings in the league.
Yeah, but
and a lot of times it's BS because like we just talked about Durant. Durant's leading the league in technicals.
Yeah.
He's got more technicals than DeMarcus Cousins, who's looked at as some kind of malcontent.
Yeah.
Right.
But like it's just the narrative that we weave.
But normally, don't you accomplish something before you get this?
Depends.
Because he's accomplished nothing.
He won an MVP.
They handed him an MVP.
But he won an MVP because people didn't want to give it to LeBron.
Right.
That was as much an anti-LeBron vote as it was a pro Derrick Rose.
Yeah,
for sure.
And he because of he's silent. There's nothing loud about it. Like all these things that you go, oh yeah, that's what we want in our athlete. Zero personality. Don't dance. Yes, I like it. Tries really hard. He's in his hometown. We put all those values in his crap. So he gets the image that he has, which is now being torn down little by little with the mental weak questions and all that stuff.
I'll tell you what, if they see him in uniform at the United Center on Wednesday night, that place is going to erupt.
Well, no, because Wednesday they're down here, right? Yeah, they played.
Yeah,
they played
tomorrow they're down here.
Friday
night,
so the next
Friday
game,
night,
yeah,
Friday night.
Yeah,
Friday
they'll go
night.
crazy. They'll erupt, and I honestly think that's what he's waiting for. I think he's waiting to come out.
I think you're giving him
in
too much
Chicago.
credit for intelligence.
All right, before we close this segment out, though, does he play Friday night?
Yes, I think he does.
I don't think so.
I think he does.
I think he leaves the door open and still doesn't play.
I don't think he plays.
I think he's.
What is this? What I've never. Look back throughout all your Rolodex of memories. When can you think of a superstar that's been cleared to play but isn't mentally ready to come play, and there not be a lot of backlash to that? And now it's becoming
it's coming
louder.
Now. Yeah, it's coming now.
Now, yeah,
You
because
know
now 'cause
what?
they're winning.
You don't remember this, and I don't think that Allen will either.
Probably not.
In the early to mid '90s, we had a pass rusher for the Dolphins named Jeff Cross. Remember Jeff Cross, number 91? He's the other 91 that we had.
Nope.
A very good pass rusher. Jeff Cross had an ankle injury, which they termed back then as a high ankle sprain, which is the beginning of the term high ankle sprain during that time. And Jeff Cross missed a series of games. And the media here and talk radio got all over Jeff Cross for those 4 or 5 games that he missed very, very, very aggressively because he had a sprained ankle and he wasn't playing. So, although at a completely different level, is still a professional athlete. And I hear kind of the same rumblings, but Jeff Cross took that kind of abuse. But that's about as close as I can come to thinking of a guy that should be playing, but it's not. It's normally the complete opposite.
Yeah.
They come back way too early.
Yeah.
Isn't the other thing though? That's also football. Football's a bit of a different animal where they expect you to, with broken bones,
Yes,
walk out there.
you're expected to play
So-
if it's not protruding from your skin.
And the other thing is that I think part of why they let it go as long as it did is that he got burnt last time for coming in so early after an injury.
2 months?
No, last time.
Oh.
Time.
No, I know.
No,
I'm
I know.
just saying,
Which
though.
is why I think that first month, no one said a thing. They're just happy he resumed it, and then it started. Oh yeah, you're at 5-on-5s.
Now,
Gonna
what
come back?
happens? we're treading on some really dangerous ground here because he's getting some pressure now. Outside pressure is starting to be applied by outside media, not Chicago media.
No, not Wilbon.
No, Wilbon's whatever you need, Derek. I'm on my way, Derek. Just wait for me by the locker.
Excuse me, Derek.
But there's a little bit of pressure that's being applied from the outside. Some commentary from ex-players, and then so there's a little bit of rumblings going on. Now, what happens if he feels some of that pressure and the pressure that they're in a series? It's a 2-2 series or a 2-1 series, and they're in a series that they could win or think they can win, and he comes back too early, or he comes back now because of pressure, and he gets hurt again.
I think that'd be terrible luck for him, but I don't. I think it's more harm for him to just, if he's healthy. If you're healthy,
it's not more harm for him.
You gotta go,
bro. They put out a mini series. You saw the mini series.
Oh my god!
Oh,
they had a mini series on.
Who is it? Adidas.
Adidas
has got to be going. What the hell, bro?
Okay. Here,
please get out there. I want to
sell, man.
But they haven't sold the shoe yet.
Dude, we're making a whole documentary on you, and this was in the summer. It's about to be the summer again, and you're still sitting.
Don't you remember that press conference where he cried because of all the support he got?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he limped out. Remember when the Bulls went out to the next year? He limped out the very next game.
Dude, the first time I saw the miniseries, I said, "Damn, he's coming back so early. He's ready."
What the freak, man?
That was in October, November,
God.
Preseason NBA games, and they're talking.
Man. Yeah.
Here we are in freaking May, and the guys still say, "I'm not mentally."
But doesn't that speak to why he's so cautious?
Muscle memory.
He's the only thing Adidas has.
It's
It's him and Dwight Howard.
As far as Adidas is concerned, they want his ass out there.
No,
yesterday.
I know they want it, but the concern that we're just talking about, that if he comes back early again and that knee isn't right,
it's not
and
early,
it goes.
Alan. It's not early. He's already cleared to
all
play.
right,
Before he's mentally ready.
before he's ready. What if he feels?
No. When are you mentally ready? You go out there and you swim. If you don't know how to swim, you go in the pool.
Right.
What if he feels like there's some lateral instability? That it's structurally there, but he feels something. He feels
He's
an odd
dunking the ball.
Right.
Get his ass on the court against competition in the NBA and
He's
find out,
dunking the
can I
ball.
compete at this level? If after 5 minutes or 3 minutes or 2 minutes, he realizes that he cannot compete, then he walks off the court and says, "Tibbs, I tried it, man. Sorry."
Or you can do the opposite. If he really feels like he's not going to be ready for the rest of the
then
playoffs,
close it.
then say it.
Yeah.
See, I can't do it. This indecision is
Well,
ridiculous.
that's what the story has been. He hasn't made a decision. And that's the whole story.
Man,
There's too many open doors.
Green stepped onto the court with a torn hip flexor muscle.
That's ridiculous.
He played
man.
a minute and 47 seconds and then walked off the court. He's not supposed to be walking, let alone running on a basketball court.
Who?
He took 3 shots. Green.
Green?
Yeah, for
Boston?
no, not for Boston. For
You mean David Lee?
David Lee, not Green.
Oh.
It
I
took
knew-
me as a.
I knew there were multiple E's in there.
I'm listening to Green. I'm thinking
David Lee.
hip flexor. Green had a heart problem. What is hip
The guy's
flexor?
not supposed to be walking, and he's taking shots and got one rebound, took a couple shots, and ran.
Okay, how great was that attempt to get him in for the Willis Reed moment?
and then
they call a timeout, so it can't happen. Then he doesn't put him in, and then he does it later again.
I know.
Oh, Mark Jackson. I want more coaches to be like Mark Jackson.
Plantar fasciitis. Joakim Noah.
Pretty painful. I've had
Spinal taps.
Talking about when he can get back. I'd be talking about sometime in 2018 when you stick a 4-inch needle in my back.
Vomiting on the sideline.
It was botched. Yeah.
Although
he got stitches.
I'm not sure Nate Robinson's the barometer for good decision making. So.
Well, I mean,
but still, he's
a tough
vomiting
little
on
shit, man.
He has LeBron sitting on his face.
Getting
Oh
stepped
my
on.
gosh! Yeah,
Getting
he got
stepped on the
stepped
face.
on. Right. He got stitches, and he still came out there. Was like, "Whoa, that's a wrap for me, kid."
I'm pretty sure if you put some like ball bearings on Heinrich's boot, he'd walk out there rolling that
gosh,
boot
man.
with him. And
Okay, you've both been in. I didn't play. You both have been in locker rooms. Are you pissed off? I know you're defending your boy Derrick Rose, but are you pissed off?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, and I played high school basketball and football. Yeah, I am because even at that level, at high school football especially, we looked at the guys. If your ass wasn't out in practice, we were upset at you because we were out there busting our ass working at practice. So yes, I think you never go outside the room and say it, but within the room,
You say something. You tell Derrick Rose something.
I would.
I think
Especially now.
from a purely basketball standpoint, yeah, I'd have a problem. But more than anything, I'd want to talk to him and know what the hell's going on. Because if I'm left in the dark, it's when I'm gonna start just going, "Oh yeah, coño, bro, come on." If I know something from him, if he's telling me he feels something, or he's telling me he doesn't want to risk it, there's too much down the line for him. The other thing is that because it's the pros, you've got a very limited shelf life in the pros. You have very limited earning window. So I think that aspect of it makes it a little tricky. Something I don't think we can understand. That, you know what, I went out and played with a back spasm because that was my senior year. The hell does it matter if I have back problems after that? I'm not playing basketball after that. But if anything happens to him, that's an entire career done. But it all depends. There's not enough information because we're not in the locker room. I need to know what he's saying. I need to see the difference between before the injury and what he looks like in these scrimmages to make any real decision. But if you're just telling me, like, if it's just on the face, he's supposed to be ready. He's been 2 months in practice.
He's been practicing
like,
with you.
Just on that, you go, oh yeah, that's the whole genesis of this thing, that we're all just listening and on the surface without any real information. We're just going, like, moving our heads, like Ramsey going, and wait, what? You're not. What?
Right.
Why aren't? What?
Well, we'll go out on this. I heard a story that Pat Riley was coaching the Heat, and one of the players was dressed up, suited up, just in suit and tie, whatever. And Riley goes to the guy and he goes, "Hey, can you give me a minute? Can you give me 2 minutes, 3 minutes?" The guy goes, "Yeah, I guess I can give you a couple minutes." And then Riley goes, "Then why the fuck aren't you wearing a uniform?"
There you go.
And he chewed the guy out. I mean, because that's the sort of thing. If Derrick Rose can give his team with his body
3 minutes,
then he's got to dress up.
And at this point, from everything that, and again, you just articulated it very well. I'm not a doctor. We don't know what's going on inside the locker room. But they haven't told us to the contrary that he cannot participate. To the contrary, they've told us he can.
Yeah.
He can play. He's full scrimmaging. He's just mentally not there. Well, get mentally there for a minute or two and see what you could give me. And if at that point you don't feel comfortable against NBA competition, playoff competition, then we'll put you away.
Well, you heard it. I mean, this is, again, the last thing we'll go before we go to break. You heard in the beginning, Nate Robinson, when he dedicated the game, he dedicated to Luol Deng because he's like, Luol Deng's trying to get back. He had a spinal tap. He's in the hospital.
Not to the former MVP.
Well, why would you dedicate it to him? He's just sitting there.
He's standing on the
Deng is
sideline.
over somewhere dying. He didn't even make the trip. He wasn't in Miami. He was in Chicago somewhere with a needle in his ass.
Unbelievable. If this was LeBron,
he would have to retire. he would not be allowed back on the on the court.
Here's the thing,
they'd make him go play in the WNBA.
I think LeBron is in that Adrian Peterson thing where I
He's
feel
a
like
freak.
I
He's a
feel
freak.
like you could saw off his leg and he could just put it back and they would just meld back together. He's such a mutant.
Yeah, he's a freak. Well, listen, we're going to go to break. We're going to come back. We're going to go switch over from basketball to the stadium. Something happened there we got to get into.
Hear ye.
And we're going to play our first PSA. Very proud of it. Carlos did his first PSA for the show. We're going to
Everybody
get
get
into
your
that.
notebooks out.
Exactly. His dissertation.
Get the voice recorder.
And we're going to
The
get to
highlighter.
all that. We're going to get Come Mierda and Game of Thrones. So we still have a lot of show left. So stay tuned. Listen to this break and we'll be right back.
Let's peruse the essentials of cool, a brief study of the things so instrumental to rule that make me feel flyer than lobbies of W's. A disclaimer just
Don't worry. Your speakers are working fine.
Let's peruse the essentials of cool, a brief study on the things so instrumental to rule.
Welcome back to the
that make me
Sports
feel
Table.
flyer than lobbies of W's.
This is Gold Watch again by Lupe Fiasco. The Cool. The album. Yeah, like the first time. I mean, you have a story with a friend saying it. I thought the same thing. I'm like, man, what's wrong with the internet?
Is YouTube broken? What is that?
So this is good, man. Again, not another hit, or this is one of the hits. Alan.
I like that. I really like this song specifically.
Okay. Welcome back to the Sports Table. We talked a lot about Heat basketball, a lot about Derrick Rose. Pussy! Sorry, that cough got in the way of me calling him a pussy. We're going to get into a little bit of the Dolphin talk. Hey, man.
Go watch them.
You got your, Theo Carlos, you got your wish granted.
Yeah, I got my wish granted.
Did you wish it would have been done like this?
No.
Happened?
I'm a big proponent of the vote. If the morons in Miami-Dade County wanted to pay for another stadium, then they should have had the right to do so. I'm not crying over it though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very glad that regardless of how it happened, and that Stephen Ross, if he wants these improvements, is going to have to pay for them himself or his buddies.
Well, just to recap a little bit of what happened last week, the legislation up in Florida on Friday was supposed to pass and add the Dolphins bill, and the Dolphins were paying the bill. They paid for it. They paid for
the whole election, $4.3 million.
That's non-refundable.
That's correct.
And they it never went through.
Forget never went through. They never brought it up.
Right. Will Weatherford.
Yeah, that's the big story. They didn't even bring it up to speak about it.
Now, who's Will Weatherford?
He's a commission. He's an appointed one from Pasco County.
Right.
And so he was, I guess, on his shoulders to bring it up, and he didn't.
Where's Pasco County?
Pasco, way up there somewhere in the Tallahassee area. Had nothing really to do with Miami-Dade County.
So I was gonna say, what does he have to do with the stadium?
None.
So
I guess he's the man that makes those decisions at that point.
The Dolphins are heated. The Dolphins are very upset. Mike D said on television stations, quote, "We cannot do this without a private-public partnership. At this time, we have no intentions of investing more." That's what the Dolphins are saying.
That's correct.
I wouldn't want to procrastinate or prognosticate, what the future holds, but it's clearly bleak. That's what Mike D, the CEO of the Miami Dolphins, says about their team and what happens. I have a clip here of Mike D talking about the future of the Miami Dolphins.
There was a guarantee that if this deal had moved forward, if the voters had approved it, that the Dolphins would have been here for 30 years. But now the future is, at best uncertain, and Will Weatherford's to thank for that.
There's Mike D, Stephen Ross, the whole front office of the Dolphins doing the same thing over again that they did about a month ago. The veiled threat. He didn't say we were going to move the team, did he? He just said that the future is bleak.
Pretty much, man. What does bleak mean? Bleak means inevitable.
And what he's saying there is, because he went on to elaborate in other interviews this week in reference to the referendum that didn't happen, that the Dolphins are Stephen Ross's team. They're his team for now, but inevitably he's either going to sell or he's going to pass away. And when that happens, there's no guarantee that this team will stay here. Well, you know what? There's no guarantee of anything. And if you ask me, the chances are slim to nothing that the Dolphins will ever leave this area. If they did, it'd be a crying shame. But if it means that we've got to pay more money or we've got to continue to put millions and millions of dollars in the hands of billionaires, then so be it, man. We can be one football team less.
No, you can't say that.
You know what? The only reason, and I can't say that because I'm such a big Dolphin fan, but the reason I can say it and be a little bit dispassionate about it is because I'm absolutely tired of these millionaires and billionaires sticking their hands in the pockets of the average guy to pull out a couple of more dollars. it just gets frustrating, and you'll see it now, Chris, as you get a little bit older, as you buy a house, as you get into these other realms of your life, where you'll start to see where every time you turn around, one of these individuals is proposing something to stick their hand just a little bit deeper in your pocket, whether it's the millionaire insurance companies to try to do that, whether it's the state legislature to increase state taxes, or whether it's a billionaire because he wants a little bit more money so he can build a little bit better stadium so he can reap more benefits. And that's who's reaping these benefits. Don't let anybody fool you, man. There's going to be a couple of hundred people that are going to work another week or 2 or 3 during the course of the year. It's 28 events over a 30-year period.
Well, whether or not it makes sense for the county and it makes sense for the taxpayers, the thing that bothers me the most, because I wasn't sure whether I wanted the stadium to be built or not. I liked it because I like new things. The stadium's the 8th oldest stadium out of all the NFL stadiums. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I'm trying to remember the article I read that they were saying there's only a couple stadiums, I think 6 stadiums total, that have not been renovated or replaced. And I'm trying to remember what some of them, I think they mentioned Soldier Field. That's another archaic stadium just kind of there.
Right.
But that we're now on the bottom end of stadiums, which is surprising to me because I always thought that stadium was great.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good. It's okay. It's not compared to the other stadiums like Dallas, the new stadium. But either way, I still wasn't sure whether or not I wasn't for it. But the fact that it was never given a chance is probably the biggest issue that I have.
And I would agree. If I have an issue, it's that, because that was my big issue with the Marlins Stadium, is the fact that it was pushed through without a vote. And at least here, after a little prodding, because at first they didn't want, and Mike D will scream at you and yell at you and tell you from the very beginning they wanted a vote, but they did not want to vote. They were trying to push this through on a short timetable because they knew on a short timetable it couldn't be done with a vote. So they were trying to backdoor it in until they were told that we'll make it happen as far as a vote goes, and that's when they changed their tune to let's have a vote. So, again, I'm not allowing, at least if I can voice my opinion, a Mike D or Steve Ross to perpetrate that kind of a fraud. By the same token, I would have loved to have had a vote. And we're going to find out for the 40 or 50,000, 60,000 votes that were. They're going to release those numbers on the 15th anyway.
Well, Will Weatherford, like you said, he was the speaker. He was basically the main go-getter for it not being passed and not giving the people of Miami and Dade County a chance to vote for it. And the Dolphins are pissed.
They're livid.
They're pissed. I mean,
well, wouldn't you be?
Oh, yeah, of course.
You had all these assurances. You got the money spent. You can't get back. And then you lost to just politics. That's really what it is. It's whatever he's aiming for, this Weatherford fellow.
Well, he has got political aspirations in the near future. And on top of that, he's a Republican conservative. So at no point in time does he want to, even if it goes to the public to vote, he wants to be sure that his conservative background and standing is in firm ground when he says, I did not raise taxes. I did not propose taxes to get raised. He doesn't want somebody to come around and say, well, you allowed them to do it. No. He's not going to allow that. So I think there were, many forces that played into that decision and how it was done.
It's interesting because Stephen Ross is a conservative, and he pays a lot of money, to the Republican Party, and it's the same party that said no. At least one guy will Weatherford. I mean, there are a bunch of quotes. Mike D, I know he's the mouthpiece, but Stephen Ross has to approve all these statements. Quote, in no fewer than 4 occasions were we told that directly from the Speaker Weatherford, your bill deserves a chance to be heard. One guy at the end of the day wrote the eulogy for this process. He also says this abuse of power, I believe, will follow his career for a long time. That's Mike D saying, I don't know if you can win him over. You can't do anything more than what we did. This is a political animal. He's a young guy in a big position with big aspirations.
That's absolutely true. And I think that inevitably they're going to go after Will Weatherford. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure that he does not move up within the party. And if it takes millions and millions, and Ross might spend 3 times what he would have cost him to build a stadium to try to keep this guy out of the governor's office in Florida.
Well, I mean, it's disappointing. This was a big buildup. A lot of people were excited and upset. but at least they would have had their chance to say something. I don't think this is where we thought this was going to end.
I never thought it would end like this. I thought that it would go to a vote and it would get turned down because the numbers weren't right for the state. That the state didn't like the idea of some of the things that were within that bill, and the Dolphins wouldn't change some of them. I thought that had a possibility, but I thought at the end of the day there was too much money, too much political power on both sides for them to stop it at that level, and I think that inevitably was going to go to a vote.
Well, explain it to me. I mean, can't they just do it again? I know they wanted it now because they wanted to fight for 50 and 51 for Super Bowls, but can't they just fight for 52?
I don't see why not. I mean, I don't know that there's any law that prohibits them from reintroducing a bill next year. And I think that if they tweak it a little bit, and I think now even if they didn't tweak it, just because of all the hoopla, the noise, the publicity, I think that it'll get heard and it'll get approved so that the community can vote on it.
It has to, doesn't it? I mean, I don't live in Dade County. I live in Broward, but I mean, if I was a taxpayer in Dade County, give me a shot, man. I didn't get a shot, like you said, with the Marlins. Give me a shot to say no.
Yeah. And again, if the residents of Dade County are going to be gullible enough to fall for something like this, and again, it may not be a bad deal like the Marlins deal, but make no mistake about it, it's not a good deal. Again, I'll go back to the point that if it was a good deal, there'd be investors lined up to do it because these guys do it every day. Investors are always looking for a good investment and a good return on their dollar. So if it was a good deal, as they keep saying, a great deal, then there'll be people lined up. It may be a good deal as far as stadiums go because the entire country's been fleeced in every single city, in every single sport at some point or another. So maybe as far as stadiums go, it's a good deal, but it doesn't mean that it's a good deal per se.
Right. Well, I mean, they're threatening it. They're threatening that the Dolphins, I mean, he didn't say flat out, we're going to leave, but he's like, it's uncertain, it's bleak, we don't know.
He stated a fact, but in a way that makes everyone scared. That's what that is, because he isn't telling you a lie.
Right.
You don't know who's gonna own it later. You don't know, and putting that lease on the stadium makes you locked in for 30 years no matter what. But the way they're saying it is it's fear-mongering. They're trying to scare people into being angry about this, so then the mob takes care of it for them. I think that's the goal of this.
I think there's a way to get this done that doesn't impact the community. I think that there's a way to get, the dollars that are necessary, whether it's through the NFL, through some kind of other private entity. Private venture, not a public-private venture. I think there's other ways to do this, and they need to explore those ways. They can be creative when they want to be creative. Be a little bit more creative with the public, with the private venture.
I don't think this is a good move, though. You think this is a good move? What they're saying about sort of veiling their threats about moving the Dolphins?
No, I've told you for over a month now that I don't think that this is a good move. I think that this, to the educated person, and now there are some of those uninformed that'll just thinking new stadium, football, yes. Some people that don't listen to the words that are coming out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of us that listen and hear these veiled threats, I don't like to be threatened. I don't like to be told, give me what I want.
Or else.
Right. Especially when you're sitting up in an ivory tower and you don't want to use yours to get what you want. You want to use mine and then benefit from mine again.
Here's a question. How much did Ross pay for the Dolphins?
Over $1 billion.
Yeah.
Because wouldn't, let's say he sells 30%. Isn't that enough money to cover what he was intending to do?
Oh, the 10% would cover what he wants.
Yeah, I mean, he's been selling fractional percent to the Williams sisters and Mark Anthony.
Because he's an entertainment whore.
No, that was the attention getting. But what if he sold a solid percent to raise the capital he needed? Wouldn't that? Isn't that a feasible thing?
He's only going to do that to somebody who it would have to be. Again, he's Heidi Fleiss of the NFL. He wants that kind of publicity. So he's not going to sell to any Tom, Dick, or Harry that's got $300 million. He wants to sell to Tom, Dick, or Harry who's got $300 million, but is also a big, huge name.
How much money does Marino have? Get him to buy 10%.
Marino wants no part.
No, I know Marino doesn't. How about Jimmy Johnson?
Jimmy Johnson wants no part
He
of this
be
either.
cruising in the Keys.
He's
I
making
mean,
Viagra commercials. He's not shit.
You're talking about intelligent, articulate men who have made a career outside of a career
No,
and made
Jimmy-
more money away from football than with football. They don't want anything to do with somebody as narrow-minded and as
Yeah.
and as stupid as these individuals in that front office are.
I'm just trying to think of people that would give buzz that he would actually sell to. You're right. I don't think Jimmy Johnson would do it.
No.
Jimmy Johnson's living the greatest life.
Jimmy
he
Johnson
can.
wouldn't do that with your money.
He works 16 weeks a year and lives in the Keys after
He
that.
gets helicoptered to a limo, limoed to a private jet to a city, and then gets limoed or coppered over to the studio. That man does not need or want a stadium issue, of owner issue, a controversy at quarterback. He doesn't want any of that.
It's
He's
just,
fine.
I mean, just to recap though, it's disappointing. It is. It's
Absolutely. That it ended the way it ended.
How about Puff Daddy?
He don't want no part of this either.
What are you talking about? He lives in Miami Beach.
I guess,
Or
but
at least he has a
don't want
place
no
in
part of
Miami
this.
Beach.
He knows what a good investment is.
What about Lil Wayne?
Shout out.
Speaking of the morons in the office, we're gonna play our first PSA today. Carlos wrote it by himself. All I did was edit it, play the music, add a little bit of my flavor into it, but this was all Carlos, his idea. It's a little bit long. It's about 3.5 minutes. Now, normal PSA is about 30 seconds to a minute, but it is worth every second. I'm going to shut our mics off so we don't talk over it, and then we'll talk about it again. But listen to the first ever Sports Table PSA.
Hello, my name is Theo Carlos, and I'm here to talk to you about draftism. What is draftism? I'd like to speak to you about a non-friend of mine. Jeff not only has draftism, but he has the most severe form of draftism. Draftism stupidus, the cruelest form of the syndrome.
Well, it just takes a lot of smart people putting together a plan. There's no doubt about it. I didn't come up with this plan.
Those diagnosed with DSS have a reduced level of recognition, a lack of cognitive skills, and the lack of ability to recognize NFL talent. They are to vision, planning, and hope what Al-Qaeda is to peace, love, and happiness. DSSers, as they're referred to in the sports world, will proclaim on Hard Knocks that their team is loaded with 4, 5s, and 6s at the receiving corps. And then he trots out Bubba, the shrimp boat captain from Forrest Gump, Mr. Agnew, as the star tight end of the future.
Tremendous athlete, very fast, great kid, very smart.
Then Jeffrey is shocked when Bubba fails like Eric Kumaro or Jackie Shipp. Let me explain. DSSers look at the War Room draft board and see a kaleidoscope of letters, names, and positions. Unlike Belichick, Wolf, Polian, and Ozzie Newsome, who see players' strengths and weaknesses. DSSers see the boards through the dark prism of fellow DSSers like Spielman, Al Davis, and Matt Millen. Draftism stupidus syndrome personified.
You know, that word keeps coming up again.
For most GMs, owners, fans, the draft is a time of optimism, hope, and excitement. Alas for Jeff, it's a time of despair, fear, and apprehension.
I never go into a draft thinking that I have to address needs.
That's where DSS takes him, into the bowels of draftism stupidus hell. Folks, this is for real. I wish I was making this up. If you have any doubt, watch Jeff's interviews, or better yet, review the Dolphins' draft history. This is a real tragic disease. It's an epidemic of monumental proportions.
You know, I really haven't put a lot of thought into it, obviously.
Damn that draftism stupidus. Unfortunately, Jeff has shown no sign of life without DSS. To the contrary, he's hell-bent on heading into the deep, dark tunnel of DSS despair, and he's taken Ross and D with him along for the ride.
I think he has the knowledge, the desire, and is smart.
So please, be part of the solution. Help Jeffrey avoid a calculated, systematic lapse into the deepest, darkest recesses of draftism stupidus syndrome 2013. This brutal, insensitive, Christmas-stealing Grinch of a disease must be eradicated. And here's how you can help. Grab a 3x5 index card and using large black block letters, write them a name of any, and I repeat, any NFL player in the draft, and mail it to Stamp Out Draftism Stupidity Syndrome. Quote, Jeff, unquote. Care of Miami Dolphins Draft, 7500 Southwest 30th Street in Davie, Florida. Or you can log on to www.stampoutdraftismstupiditysyndrome.net. Remember, folks, your guess is as good as Jeff's.
Of course, all my draft choices are going to make it.
This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the Sports Table.
I want to cry.
By the way, the clips of Jeff, unedited.
Unedited. Spectacular job, though. Spectacular job.
Unedited.
Good job. Thank you very much.
No, it was a great job by you, Theo. All I did was find the clips that went with it, and I couldn't believe it. When he says it in the beginning, when he's like, it takes smart people to come up with this plan. Yeah, I didn't come up with this plan. And he's like, yeah, I normally don't go into a draft looking to fill needs.
Of course not. Why would you do that?
So it's great. There are going to be many more PSAs to come.
That's going to be on YouTube before anything else. I want that file by itself.
Alan's going to get a PSA. He's working on one now. I'm going to have one. George, hopefully, whenever he shows up, he'll get one.
In Spanish.
Yeah. We're going to go to break. We're going to go to the last segment of the show. We're going to do Game of Thrones, or we're going to do Come Mierda of the Week. Again, great job, Theo, by the PSA. So look for more of that on YouTube, on d4radio.com. We're going to go to break. We're going to come back, wrap the show up right after this.
And now we play the Game of Thrones.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die.
With Chris.
Cut off his manhood and feed it to the goats.
There are no goats, half man.
We'll make do.
Carlos.
Bow before your king. Bow, you shits.
Alan.
You're gonna say something clever. Go on, say something clever.
And George.
Has anyone ever told you you're as boring as you are ugly?
It's got all the action, dragons, and naked chicks you can handle.
Winter is coming.
Welcome back to the Sports Table. Are you guys ready to play?
I'm ready to play.
Woo!
Hey, did you see the Saturday Night Live with Zach Galifianakis?
No, I missed it. I didn't see it.
They've got a play the game of the Game of Thrones. And
Which
they
one out?
have Zach and two other contestants and a guy asking questions, and they have this big old board. They had Jamie Lannister as a special guest. Galifianakis comes in, and he's wearing a big dragon outfit. He says, "It's a kid's extra large."
Game of Thrones is everywhere. It's in the it's submersed in the pop culture.
One of the questions was, it's played almost like Jeopardy,
right?
And Zach asked for geography. And so he's thinking,
that's funny.
so and he thinks it's geography of Game of Thrones, and the question is, what is the capital of Wisconsin? So throughout the whole thing, it's unfortunate that they all get all the Game of Thrones questions. He knows all the answers, but his question is, who is this, who is that, and who is the capital. And then to bring Jamie Lannister in, and he knows the actor and this and that.
Right.
And he offers to shower with him and everything. And he promises not to look down, but he would want to. And then they show him a picture of the Supreme Court Justice lady. and they ask him, who is this? So he was expecting a question about Jamie and
right.
some old pilgrim.
That's funny, man.
That was a funny part.
By the way, did you know the guy that plays Jamie is Dutch?
Yes. Yeah, well, I figured
I spend so much time
accent.
amazed at who's from where and why. Like Brienne of Tarth is not as ugly as she looks in the
she's
show.
not.
Peter Dinklage is American, and hearing him not speak in Tyrian British is like a life shock.
I know him from Elf. He was the angry elf.
I forgot who was.
He was.
I don't remember it was with Jason or the half beard. That I'm like, you realize Tyrion is the little guy from Elf. He's like, what do you mean from Elf? And I start describing the little guy who gets mad.
The angry elf from the north.
Like, they let you out. He's like, I write children's books. And he's like, oh my God, he is.
Yeah.
That show.
He's the angry elf. Don't call me that. You're the angry elf. Don't call me that again. Then he runs across the table.
I really don't know how to get into it. I mean, this last episode was a little bit of it wasn't as strong, I could say, as the episodes that are going to come and the episode that just happened before it.
I classify it as a breath catcher.
Yeah. Although we got a fantastic scene. I'm gonna spend this entire season just touting that old lady. We got a fantastic scene with her and Tyrion. I'm not Tyrion, Tywin. It was
she's good,
and she delivers lines. Like
she's
no, absolutely. She's the sword swallower.
She's powerful.
Yeah. Okay, the sword swallower line. I paused and just laughed for 5 minutes. Do you deny it? No. He's absolutely a sword swallower through and through. Like, what the hell did you just?
Yeah,
you just called him a sword swallower.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna break it down, again, the whole theme is the Game of Thrones, and those two, as of where we are in the story, they're the two strongest players in the game.
Yes, right
now
they are.
Because before it used to be obviously Ned and the king. What was the king's name?
Not even Ned. Ned
Robert
was finding out.
Baratheon.
I wouldn't even say Ned and Robert. They were just blissfully unaware of the games happening around them.
Well, Rob won because he became the king. So he had.
No. He was the king. But I'm saying like the game of all the politics that were happening, I don't think had much to do with Rob at all. They just kind of withstood him.
Mm-hmm.
That the keeper of coin in Littlefinger was really dealing with Tywin the whole time, and they revealed it not this past episode, the episode before,
right,
where they're talking about how Littlefinger was always known for doing this magic, and you find out he's just borrowing money from Tywin and from what's the place with the faceless man? I forgot what the place is called. Moving on.
Well,
right. Anyway,
nothing started until Robert was killed.
Yeah,
right.
That's when the Game of Thrones actually started.
No.
Yeah,
there was a prelude to it because Arwen died while getting into it the same way Ned did. But once you've lost the two honorable guys that were digging and shit starting to hit the fan, that's when everything went crazy. And you have the spider going crazy, Littlefinger, and I don't think Ned and Rob were really all that involved in all the happenings around them. They just got caught in it. And now that they're gone, everyone's caught in it. Everyone. And you have La Vieja with all her assets of High Garden.
Right.
And Tywin, who's just magical.
He's stone cold.
He is so businesslike.
He's stone cold, right?
Oh, my God. It's wonderful.
But like I said, those are the two strongest players in the game right now. Rob Stark, before he had all his mutinies and stuff, he was a big player because he was basically dictating what was happening in King's Landing.
Well, he was neutralizing.
Really,
he was just neutralizing Tywin.
Right.
He took Tywin out of the picture, which is how Tyrion ended up doing as much as he did. Because we've already seen this season, if Tywin is there, he treats Tyrion like the turd on the boots that I don't like.
Right.
So, and Rob's now collapsed, but Rob's got this great plan, and now he has to deal with Walter Frey, and
which hasn't started yet. I thought they were going to get to it this episode.
You have to make the arrangement to pick up the rest of the army from Walter Frey,
right?
But that hasn't been done, and now we have.
You don't get the army until you get the wedding.
Yeah, you have to that night send them over, and
the wedding's first.
The Tullys right now, the Tullys are making me laugh because you got the young uncle. Who's just he I feel like he's just a bobo. He's just a dumb guy.
I think he's
just
a
in charge.
good-hearted Bobo.
No,
though.
he's no. Well-intending does not save you from being a bull.
Right.
That doesn't.
That's Mario Chalmers.
No. You know what? Yeah, perfect. That's
Okay.
Mario Chalmers.
Okay.
He's completely unaware that he's making bad decisions. He's well-intending. And then you have Blackfish, who I swear, he just wants... I feel like he
badass.
spends his day thinking, I want to punch that child. And he's already... Didn't he punch him already once?
Yeah, he slapped
He
him.
punched Castark already. He knocked the shit out of him. I love Blackfish. I want more Blackfish.
Mm-hmm.
But you have that whole thing. You have a Bobo going, no, he's been trying to marry me this whole time. I'm not doing it. And Rob just kind of like looks at him. You realize we're in a war, right?
Right.
And we've got to do shit we don't want to do, right?
Oh, but it's sort of like
I
Rob
don't
is like,
want to do it.
my bad. It's sort of my fault.
Yeah, he kind of told him, you're going to pay for my sins, and I'll remember that.
Yeah.
And Blackfish likes to drop it back on him too every time. It just, that show.
But the back and forth between Tywin and the grandma,
that was spectacular.
She says it herself. She said it. She's like, Rare is the person that meets up to his reputation or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true, man.
And
he was
brought-
hardcore.
And she brought it up with Tyrion too.
Yeah,
That
well,
all the
Tyrion,
thing-
she was disappointed though.
Well, she was, but I'm saying like that's part of it. That Rare is it, and you saw it in the episode before that Tyrion has this debaucherous reputation,
right?
And all for naught. He's just a poor guy sitting there with a book.
Mm-hmm.
But that Tywin met it, and that's not happened ever. As far as I think the closest was Varys, but even Varys, I feel like Varys got a little played, which really shouldn't happen. And I'm sure she's aware that Varys just lost a spy, which, by the way,
creepy.
Creepy. You know that sadistic bastard Joffrey. That's the most pleasure he's had the entire season.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
When he shot
When he killed her, the redhead.
I forgot what her name is. Apparently, no. He might be smiling because she's not in the book.
What's that?
The whore that came from the north, she doesn't exist in the book. I saw it on IGN. She's not existent. So she's been used as a story thing just for the show.
Yeah, that crossbow incident isn't in the book.
Yeah,
but it's still
spectacular.
I can't believe it.
But you can tell what it's setting up with Joffrey mentally. With
He
Joffrey.
is just crazy.
Oh, he's sick. He is sick. 'Cause I'm telling you, dude. Like Podrick had his great moment with whores all over him. That he just had the same moment killing a whore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure he walked off camera and changed his pants. He was so excited about it.
Right. And yeah, you just saw the crossbow arrows all through her,
and him just kind of sauntering away.
That's how he gets off.
Yeah,
Hey.
no, absolutely. Which puts Marjorie in a real interesting spot.
Well, she knows.
No,
This is what I wanted to get into. The oldest daughter of the Stark, the redhead. What's her name? Sansa. When she realizes that she has to marry Tyrion,
She's devastated.
She is, of course, and she sees the boat, going off into the ocean.
Sees her escape, leaving.
She's literally, This is the first time in years that she had a chance to be free of this, and she watches it go away.
Mm-hmm.
No, she sends it away because she told Littlefinger, "No, I'm gonna stay."
That's true.
But then Tywin comes sweeping in with his plots, and I mean, it could be worse for her. She could still be with Joffrey. I can understand the hesitation for poor Tyrion, but. And the other thing is, I don't think she's fully aware of Sir Loras, the sword swallower. I'm not sure how she'd take that.
I mean, he would have to do it anyway. He's gonna have to have.
I think he, unlike Renly, I think he is a little bit more beholden to his responsibilities. He would have a child and just have his sword on the side. I'm sure he would run the business a little better.
Pardon that pun.
Yeah.
Okay, getting to. I mean, because again, the show it was a good episode, but it wasn't as powerful as the other ones were.
Oh,
I thought it was very iconic when Jon Snow is climbing up the wall with what's her face, the other redhead, Ygritte, right? And he's at a crossroads because she calls him out at the bottom before they climb. She's like, "I know you're still a crow.
You're still a crow.
She's like, I know what you are, but remember, you're with me now.
I love you.
Yeah.
Basically, she told him she loves him.
Yeah. She's like, I'm your woman, and now you have to do what I want to do. Not just.
Is that how you took it?
No, because the thing is, she's like, if you're a crow, they don't care about you if you die. If you're a freeman, they don't care about you if you die. You're just soldiers in their armies. I with me is where we have to watch out together because all we have is each other.
I took it as she told her, my loyalties are with you because yours should be with me. So I know you're a crow, but you're mine too.
Right.
So whichever way you go, just remember, it's you and me.
Okay.
It's not. I took it as, I understand you're not actually on Mance Raider's side, but you're on my side.
Right.
So no matter what, we're together. So even if at the end of this all, he goes back to being the crow
I
side,
didn't take it like that.
I took it as, look, even if you go there, you're bringing me because you're mine, I'm yours.
Mhm.
And if you stay, you're still mine. Your loyalty is to me, not to any of these two parties. Because like you said, you're just fodder for
soldier,
either
right,
side.
Right. And they're climbing up, and the guy cuts the cord. The guy cuts the line.
The warg that never trust them to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he wasn't too upset about cutting.
No, he actually.
he went. That was his first move. He's like, we gotta cut him.
He would have done it faster if the Redbeard hadn't have said something.
Exactly.
And even then, I think the Redbeard would have held on the whole time.
Yeah.
Because that dude looks like he could hold the thing with his bare hands.
Right.
Clack.
Right.
I got this.
Well, I mean, it's just interesting. So Jon Snow in himself, he's battling with where his loyalties lie. Whether his loyalties lie with the crows, whether it's with this girl, whether it's with Mance Raider. He doesn't know where it's gonna be, and that's the visual of him climbing up, and he gets to the top, and he sees what he's done. He sees the past, and he sees what is lying in the front of him. With Westeros, everything past the wall, and then he makes out with the girl, and he's like, okay, yeah, you are really where my loyalties lie.
Yeah. First and foremost, it goes to Ygritte.
Yeah.
And especially as Littlefinger is talking about the only thing that matters is the climb. To everyone who's climbing, it's
How
all about
awesome was that, man?
It was so well done. And I was joking because I was watching it with Jason. How they spent all the budget on the ice breaking and that last scene. That's the entire budget for the episode.
Right.
But they spent it so well because that scene, as Ygritte for the first time sees her world. That's the other thing. She's seeing for the first time the entirety of her
where she
world.
is. Yeah.
And then she turns to see the other world that she's never known.
Right.
And John's got the opposite, where he's seeing what he's just experienced and looking back at home and what he's going to have to go back to.
Mm-hmm. What is up with Greyjoy, dude? What is that?
I don't know who that guy is. I thought he was.
The thing is, what's bothering me? I know it's bothering him. That Theo Carlos
he can't say anything.
Theo Carlos. The thing is, I want you to say stuff about the episode.
I'm very much trying to measure what I say to make sure I don't ruin it for anybody.
Well, because I've wondered, because I spent a lot of time on IGN.com and they put up book differences and stuff like that. First and foremost, a lot of what's happening with him doesn't actually happen until Dance with Dragons, which is the fourth book.
Fourth book.
Yeah, so it's chronologically moved up so that we see it, but it isn't actually talked about in the book that they're dealing with
until
in book
later.
3.
Okay.
I don't. I thought for the longest time it was one of the Boltons, one of the same people that have Jaime, because of the torture device they have. Then you have this creepy bastard who says he's from the Iron Islands. But the thing is that the way he talked, to me, gave it away. The fact that he did not say things like, what's dead will never die, and he said winter is coming and stuff like that, made me go off the bat. I knew that dude was not Ironborn, nothing.
Right.
But he's so
very mysterious.
Yeah, he's
very
weird.
mysterious.
Because I thought, it looked like if he guessed it, and then he's like, I'm a liar, ha ha ha. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell?
Time to punish you.
And what he did, slicing just enough of the finger to be so excruciating that he wants it off.
Yeah.
And he just, I win. I feel like he's this world's Joker. Some men just want to see the world burn. I feel like this guy has just gone off the deep end. Like, I just want it.
That's funny.
You want your finger off? Yes, I like that. Yeah.
The Greyjoy, he is suffering. I think he's suffering more than Jaime is. Actually, no, that's not true. Jaime's suffering way more.
Well,
but he's right there. He's second.
Jaime's suffering kind of an identity crisis right now.
Well, his identity was his right hand.
Yeah,
literally.
and the lack of it. But even then, he still has who he is. He does know his father's still after him, and there has to be some confidence that even without that hand, you can learn the left. I think Theon is worse because he's suffering through the sins that he just turned his back
on his family,
on the only family that at least enjoyed him,
right?
Because the Greyjoy is just nothing, and that's the culture of the island to begin with. But the Starks, at least to some level, liked him.
Well, he was a brother, right?
Yeah, to some of them he was.
Right. To Rob he was.
To Rob he was. The thing is that I think he held those petty things, and you saw it in the first season.
Right. He held the fact that he wasn't real, that the other ones were actual sons, and just like the hold against Jon Snow for being a bastard. He wanted to belong more than he actually really belonged.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the what made it worse was I think Jon Snow was humble and he didn't bring himself up, and he just kind of endured it. I think because Theon always threw out that he was the heir of the Iron Islands,
right?
And I'm Ironborn. I think it only made it worse for himself. Which then, conversely, when he's going through all this, he's suffering more because he sees that everything he did was wrong. That he places belief in the wrong things. He betrayed people he should not have betrayed. And as he's suffering physically, he's also suffering the guilt of all that.
Right.
And that's much worse than the athlete identity crisis that Jaime's going through. Although I can admit it was a pain in the ass to watch him try to eat a steak.
That was embarrassing.
And then to have Brienne just hold it for
How weird
him.
was it seeing her in a pink dress?
That was
weird.
She didn't look too bad.
She didn't look that bad.
She generally she's not supposed. I think it's the haircut is the worst part. She's got like a dude
And the
haircut.
fact that she's a gorilla.
Well, I don't even think she's that good. She's just tall.
Yeah, she's big, dude. She has a bigger jawline than I do.
No, she does not.
Thanks.
I think you're underestimating your masculinity, bro. Come on.
All right, well, Game of Thrones is going to pick up again next week. How many more episodes are in the season?
I think 5.
Was that was either 4 or 5? I think.
So I think there's at least 5 more.
We're halfway through, more or less.
Man, it just can't. There is so much that needs to get bottled up in the next 5 weeks.
It's going to be awesome.
I can only really hope that they do what like they did for the last Harry Potter movies, where they looked at and they're like, there's so much content.
We gotta split it
We're
up.
not gonna crunch it into one. We'll let it bleed over into
To the
another
next
one.
year, next season.
So that season 4 is still book 3, and you're still hashing out the meat of it. I don't know if it's feasible because I see you looking into the sky and thinking how that would work. but you know what I mean.
It can definitely. It won't run an entire season.
Yeah, but like
it could start next season. Season 4 can end next season, or book 3 can end next season, and season 4 can start. It'll be a transition. There'll be like week 3 or 4 could be the end of that, and then you're starting just throwing in it. There is a very easy transition between 3 and 4.
The God of Light.
That's another thing. The religions are all coming into play now. And
and
that's not
waitress or whatever.
Apparently, that's another one because you can confirm that's not in the book either.
Right?
They don't come looking for Gendry. Gendry stays. They take someone else. I think it was. Gendry's supposed to be staying with the Brotherhood, so they're putting this in, and even the encounter she has with Arya, that's non-book either. She gets that prophecy or whatever from someone else.
Well, it was. I mean. What
But
really happened, though?
What happened in the show was a big deal.
Yeah.
Because you see, for the first time, someone has confirmed, besides Ned, that he's a Baratheon.
Right.
So they're hunting him for that blood. And then you have the thing with Arya, where they even brought up the Vergulis whatever again.
Right.
So.
And not only that, though, when she was talking to the drunk, the one that keeps bringing him back to life.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to have that power.
Yeah. I love his story where he's just like, I believe because shit happened.
Right.
I didn't really believe before. And then it worked. And I'm like, you know what? I think this might be real.
That was the first time I've seen her since she's been brought up where she was unsure of herself or unsure of what. Because throughout everything, she's always very confident. She's like, oh, if I would have been there, we would have won. And, everything that she was confident that she had something to back her up. When she interacted with someone else, that she's like, oh my God, he has powers too, and his powers I can't even do that. That was the first time that she was caught off guard, and she's like, "Wait a second."
She was very unsure of how to accept what he has and how to kind of play what he has and whether she can deal with that or not.
And especially since she was looking down at him, like there was a very condescending feel to how she looked at Thoros, because he really, like, if you're measuring the holiness priest level, that dude is a hobo. That dude is he has no business with holy powers, and he's bringing people back.
Well, he said it too. He's like, I shouldn't be a priest. I'm a terrible priest.
Yeah, I failed. I'm a drunk. Give me a drink. And then you have Reed. You now have this little hitch where apparently the green site, the prophecies, have like a epileptic attack.
They cause seizures. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Although
gonna be interesting, man.
I'm pretty sure that's not canon either.
Because
I'm going by what I read from IGN, where it just kind of said the difference. There's some validity to it.
Yeah.
All right.
The book has him in there and his visions and his reactions.
No. The fact that it causes the seizures.
Yes,
it does.
It does.
In IGN, I'm protesting. Scoundrels who lied to me.
It's gonna heat up. It's gonna get fast. With 5 episodes left in the season, so we will see
already
what
next
happens.
week we're going back to our Khaleesi.
What
does it look like? She's invading a city that doesn't give a damn about her.
It's gonna be awesome.
Well, anytime Khaleesi shows up, the show is really good. It's a good show. She's very aggressive. I like her no nonsense kind of
and
attitude.
She's surrounded by such great support.
Yeah, yeah, she is.
Because those two
three
old guys
dragons,
are,
awesome.
No, I'm not talking about the dragons. I'm just talking about the old guys and how good they are on the show.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Game of Thrones is gonna pick up. Well, hopefully George is here next week so we can talk into it again. But if not,
we need Ramsey.
Exactly.
Replaced with Ramsey.
Carlos is gonna anchor this this last and final segment of the show. With this music behind us, you know what it is. Woo!
Every week there's a couple.
Who wants to go first? Should I go first?
Yeah, go ahead. I gotta think about this.
Let me go first. Okay. I told you I went to the movie theater on Friday. I went with my girlfriend to go see Iron Man 3. Meh. That's what I have to say about the movie. Meh.
I'd yell at you, but I got something for that too.
It's meh. Anyway, in that one night, I ran into like 6 come mierdas. So I'm just gonna go in chronological order of how I met them. We went to the Menchie's. Come mierda of the week number 1. All the stupid people that kept approaching LeBron and his kids. Oh, take a picture with me. Take a picture. Like, he's like, nah, I don't want to take a picture. I'm sorry, man. Wow, what's wrong, LeBron? You can't take pictures with me? So all those annoying fans that were in his face, like beyond the point of just a simple no, you guys are my come mierda of the week number 1.
Come mierda.
Number 2, The Big Show.
The Big Show.
You really talking about the 7-footer?
WWE.
Yeah. Let me tell you why.
God.
The Big Show, I ran into The Big Show at the movie theater. It was in Sunset, the AMC in Sunset Place. Can you imagine sitting behind The Big Show? You'd never be able to see the movie.
I would move.
You'd never be able to see the movie. On a premiere night, you'd never be able to see it.
I think it'd be worse sitting next to The Big Show.
Either way.
Because literally, you lose half your chair. Just like that.
Imagine sitting in front of him. His knees are on your shoulders. So anyone sitting around it wouldn't be able to enjoy the movie. For that,
The Big Show should buy 4 tickets.
For himself.
For himself.
Exactly.
In front, next to him, and behind him.
Easily. And the thing is, he put on weight, dude. So he's even bigger than than his wrestling weight was. He's easily 400 pounds and still 7 feet tall. He's a mammoth. And for that, Big Show, you're my come mierda of the week number 2.
Come mierda.
My last one. When you're trying to watch a movie, you're going there for the experience. You know, you're just there to enjoy it yourself. You know, you're there with. I was there with my girlfriend. People are there. They're in their own little parties. Okay. All you movie know-it-alls, keep that shit to yourself.
I hate those people.
Keep that shit to yourself. Bottle it up, put it in your pocket, and keep it to yourself. Because no one else wants to know that you know how much the movie it cost to make it, what Robbie Downey Jr. was going through during this scene, and what Iron Man compared to the comic books is related to the Avengers in the comic books and the movie. No one gives a shit. I'm there to enjoy the movie. Keep that to yourself. So, movie know-it-alls, you are my biggest and last Come Mierdas of the week.
Come Mierda! You know what the funny part is? That the very last snippet of comparing the comics, that's all the shit that I know.
Do it. You can do
No,
it.
and I don't do it.
at
I
the
don't do
movie
it.
theater.
Okay, when I went, because I went Thursday night, it was me sitting with Jason. I don't know if you know Joey, and our friend the Half-Beard.
Yeah.
And it was discussions about how it came with the extremist thing, because we know the storyline and all that. But we didn't share it with everybody. I assume you got guys that you're talking about. They're just so loud.
They're talking.
Telling
They're talking
everyone,
to
like,
the
"Oh,
theater.
Extremist. He might become superpower. He might
God,
be this.
man.
Blah, blah, blah."
Bro, shut the hell up. You can know it. You can know it. Be happy.
The lonely
Don't tell
attention
me.
seekers.
Yeah, don't tell me.
That
In the
those
movie
guys.
theater, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't need to know. Keep that shit to yourself.
You want me to go?
I'll go.
All right.
I will continue my dual Come Mierda ships. And they tie in very well. Will Weatherford is my one of my Come Mierdas of the week. Come Mierda. Will, you should have let the people of Miami-Dade County vote. You know, I didn't want this referendum to pass, but I didn't want it not to pass this way. I wanted the people to speak, to voice their opinions, and that's one of the reasons why we live in this country, so we can vote. And as soon as we let one or two people start making these decisions for us, then what the hell power do we have anymore?
There's no point.
So Will Weatherford, you're my Come Mierda of this week.
Come Mierda.
Maintaining the theme, Mike D.
Oh, God. Good job.
Mike D, take your
both sides of the
history, political science degree and hang it in a deep, dark closet. I don't want to know, and I don't care what you know about politics or about history. You cannot continue to dress up this community with these veiled threats about moving the Dolphins and about the Dolphins moving. Hopefully you'll be long gone. Stephen Ross will be long gone. And you guys can put Jeff Ireland in your suitcases and take him with you. This team will stay in South Florida. Somebody will buy this team and keep it in South Florida. And maybe then, with a private ventureship and partnership, we'll get this stadium redone. Or with a deal that will truly benefit the residents of this community. So for that, Mike D, for your veiled threats of how this team is going to move when Stephen Ross sells it, you are my Come Mierda of the week.
Come Mierda. Those were good.
I'm gonna hit Iron Man. I'm gonna do this on behalf of that. I've had a relatively easy week. I'm not that angry at anybody, so I'm gonna do this on behalf of our friend the Half-Beard, because he was incensed at the end of Iron Man. That ending.
Don't know, haven't seen it.
No, that ending. It's one of those things. All right.
If you tell me the ending, I'll tell you the
I'm not
next
gonna tell
person
you-
that
I'm
dies
not-
on
No!
Games of Thrones.
Alex, shut up!
No, I'm not gonna say the ending. I'm gonna say that it's a shame because it was literally the best Marvel movie. It hit tones on the character. There was development. The story threw you for a loop. You had, I'm trying to remember what. Either one of you seen Sherlock?
Yes.
Okay. It had a moment as crazy as Moriarty. You're just like, wait, what? What? Huh? And then the ending was just such an unusual thing. It wasn't bad. I don't think it was bad. I have a friend who was incensed and left pissed at the entire movie. So you know what? I don't know if I'm blaming Shane Black. I don't know who I'm blaming. But my Come Mierda of the week is the ending of Iron Man.
Come Mierda. I agree. Well, with that, it's been a great show.
Show 11.
We had to carry the show on our shoulders, us three today. How many times have we done that? Like four?
4 times.
4 or 5 times out of the 11.
You say it like there's a big difference.
He's getting heavy. It's 180,
Give me
82
a second.
pounds.
Let me get into George mode. You ready?
Your shoes are still on. You have a real shirt on, not a house shirt, and you're wearing underwear.
And you're
So
paying attention.
You're not George.
You're paying attention. You're contributing.
You can hear me laugh already. I'm doing more.
Well, with that, we want to thank Defo and DefoRadio.com.
Thanks, Defo.
Look for us on YouTube.
The Sports Table Miami is our channel. Hit us up, subscribe. We'll have our episodes up soon enough.
So with that, we will catch you guys next week here on the Sports Table.
See ya.
Voy para Marcané, llego a Cuesta, voy para